Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
Kind of enjoyed the press conference yesterday.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes I get bored.
Yeah,
I'm just going to be honest, right? Sometimes I get bored. Like, because it's day 2 of camp, have you learned anything from day 1 to day 2? No, it's the same crap, bro.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I thought there were some real insightful answers.
Yeah, or at least, if nothing else, there were some answers with meat into it that maybe they said the same things just differently and gave good sound bites.
We both came away thinking there was a lot of good stuff, but probably the thing with the most meat, if you will, 1775 in about 14 minutes, 18 minutes. The thing with the most meat, I thought, and I think you agreed, was Coach Elko, when asked about Marcel's lack of turnovers this fall camp, was like, I think we've overblown some of the turnovers last year. And I liked the way he positioned it.
Yeah, he said some of those turnovers were late in games where you are taking more chances because you have to.
You have to. Let's listen to that soundbite. Here's Mike Elko on some of those turnovers. And actually, he's talking about the quarterback room. He's talking about both Brady Hart and Marcel, but most of it's on Marcel.
I think, first of all, he took care of the football better last year than anyone's given him credit for it. So I think, first of all, I think that nobody's ever actually asked me that. But a lot of his picks last year that took that number to where it went were end-of-game, pressing games, trying to catch up. And I think there's times where in those situations you're going to put the ball at risk more naturally. And so, for a large part of the season last year, I thought he protected the ball really well. And even down the stretch, outside, I thought the worst game was South Carolina. I thought outside of the South Carolina game, a lot of that was pressing type situations. But I think he's taken the step we hoped he would take. I think he's much more comfortable, much more confident, knows the reads, knows what the progressions need to look like. I think his footwork looks cleaner, the ball delivery looks cleaner. And so, again, excited for him. And then I think Brady continues to grow and develop and, excited for what he's doing and how he's working out there.
Agree. In some parts, I may not completely agree, but I agree.
Well, when you break it down, he had 2 interceptions against Texas in the last 3.5 minutes when they were down 10. But one of those came on 1st and 10 at the 18. All right. So, but you're trying to make plays because you
have to,
especially when you're a younger quarterback, because you might feel that there's more pressure there than there is. Then he had one against Miami. We all remember. In the end zone at the end of the game, where, quite frankly, had the play before that bit of completion. Yeah. So I started thinking about, he threw an interception against Notre Dame, but that was Leonard Moore. When he made the right read, he got one man-to-man coverage.
Yeah.
And so man-to-man coverage, okay, go over here. Well, except you forget which man it is over there. So, all right, so maybe you learn from that. One against Auburn that never should have been called. The play should have been called. They didn't need to do it. And there were too many moving parts in it. And that play was fouled up from the bad snap because it was a real timing pattern and threw the timing off. And then there was 2 against LSU. One was a remarkable play by the defender. Sometimes you just got to say, hey, we got to make a great play. Like B.J. Mays against LSU a couple of years ago. But then he had one where he tried to force it in the end zone. And then the next time he got down there, he ran it. Hey, touchdown. I can see kind of the point Elko's trying to make. You could, I don't want to say dismiss, but you could rationalize 5 or 6 of the interceptions.
Yeah. He's got his quarterbacks back, which I appreciate. I think his quarterback has taken too many hits with these rankings. Now, I will go over a ranking that he was actually ranked pretty high, to be honest with you. We'll go through that here in a second. I'm of the opinion 2 things can be true.
Okay.
I think and this is a Nunoism, so shout out to Nick for counting in the back. But yeah, I agree. Sometimes at the end of games, you take chances, and that's the result, right? Conversely, I want my quarterback at the end of games to be at his best. So there's both. And by the way, there have been games where he has been at his best.
Like throwing a touchdown pass
against
Notre
Notre
Dame.
Yeah.
Or, of course, it wasn't at the very end. But, it's funny.
All of the LSU game.
He mentioned that South Carolina game. Other than that, and you could almost, if you look at it in totality, you could almost make an argument that his best game. His best game.
It could be his worst and his best, right? It is.
2 things can be true.
Yeah. So everything but there's nuance to everything, right? Uh-huh. I know that they're working on those turnovers, obviously, because in fact, there's a soundbite. I don't think I pulled it, but from maybe I did, from Wiggins, Coach Wiggins, Holman Wiggins, about reducing those. But that being said, it is not just on the QB.
No.
When the quarterback feels pressure coming his way and there's a lack of a run game, all those things contribute to turnovers.
And sometimes the play call. I hesitate to bring this up because I do too often. It's talking about the wrong team. But I was working in Austin in 2005 when Mac Brown says, "Hey, we're going to tailor the offense around Vince's strengths," and they changed their offense, and he became maybe arguably the best quarterback in college football, arguably. And I see A&M, talk about, or hear them talk about more rollouts for moving the pocket, keep Marcel on the move. And I just think if that's all going to be true, I think that'll just make Marcel better and understand. Marcel was good. Yeah. See, that's the thing that gets me. So many people just act like he wasn't good. Marcel was very good. So if you're going to do some things in your offense that's going to make him even better, then then that makes me even more eager to see what's going to happen this year.
Speaking of Marcel and rankings, USA Today, our friend Blake Topmeyer has the top 16, the 16 starting quarterbacks, his rankings.
The former Texas offensive lineman.
No,
not him.
Topmeyer.
Topmeyer. Okay.
Yeah, he's been on the show. He's good.
Okay.
He has Marcel Reed as the 4th best quarterback in the SEC. Reed nicknamed himself the gingerbread man. Why? Because you can't catch him. A multi-sport star in high school, he attacks defenses with his legs and his arms. His struggles came against Texas A&M's toughest competition, and his sophomore season ended after a red zone interception and a playoff loss to Miami. He vowed to cut down his 12 interceptions. If he makes good on that pledge, he possesses abilities to be a top-tier SEC quarterback.
Agree with all that.
All that and a bag of chips. You want to hear his top 10?
Yeah.
Number 1, Trinidad Chambliss. So far, this list is I'm on the same page. Number 2 on the list, Gunnar Stockton.
Oh, Gunnar, okay.
Number 3, Arch Manning.
Okay.
4 is Marcel. 5, Sam Levitt.
All right.
6, John Mateer.
Okay.
7, Byron Brown.
All right.
8, Keelan or Austin. Keelan Russell, Austin Mack.
Oh, all right. So you're saying everybody else in the league, all the quarterbacks are worse than a guy who's never played meaningful minutes and don't even know who the starter is. Okay.
Number 9, this is surprising.
Naughty
Lenore
number
Sellers.
9. Oh, man.
Number 10. Sorry?
That is surprising.
Number 10, Austin Simmons.
Okay.
So that's Blake's top 10. Maybe we'll get him on the show to break that down here. All right, let's talk about the offense. Okay. So in a moment, we're going to hear from Coach Wiggins breaking down some of what we've already discussed.
He had a quote yesterday that I thought was just like, I thought I could feel Nuno's excitement about the blow over because he was referring to the depth at receiver. So yeah, we're like the Avengers.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, okay, Hulk back here is going to be getting all excited over that one.
I don't remember if I picked that soundbite, but let's just go to that one instead of the other one.
No.
I'm about timing. There's not a teleprompter for me. There is for you, but there's not one for me. We can go all over the place. Here's Coach Wiggins on the receiver room that might have that bite.
When you sit there and talk about kind of that group, of course, a lot of people have recognized Terry Bussey just in the facet of him kind of having time on job, us using him in a bunch of different capacities. He's a smart, tough, unselfish, dependable player that we can line up in a few different spots, and he gives us the ability to sit there and put the ball in his hands, play without the ball, which I've been, super intrigued about him. Mario Craver has been lightning in a bottle, looking for him to continue to stack days and kind of be a little more balanced in kind of what we're doing. He has this uncanny ability to color outside the lines, so trying to give him, a few guardrails just in that aspect. Ashton Bethel-Roman, you see him averaging 21 yards a catch a year ago, and now starting to figure it out, not just being just a vertical stretch guy. We're doing some different things in the run game with him. He's able to kind of now run some of the intermediate routes a whole lot cleaner than what he did a year ago. Of course, Isaiah Horton has been, kind of the big name that everybody's kind of tossed around. Big receiver, big catch radius, really good ability to track the ball, getting him more consistent with attacking it, and he had a pretty decent day out there today. And then you also have some of those other guys as far as TK Norman, Kelshawn Johnson, the freshman crew that has come in. But I think as we continue to build, that room's going to be, pretty prolific in this offense.
Pretty prolific. So that's not the bite with the Avengers. That was the question you asked, I think, prior. But he basically gave you the Avengers right there.
Yeah, so I guess Bussey would be the Hulk in this, right?
The strong guy, yeah.
Yeah. Who's Iron Man?
Let me think about that. Iron Man, let's go with Isaiah Horton.
Okay.
No. I don't know if there's a comparison. I don't know. I'm not seeing it. I'm not going to give Mario Craver Ant-Man. That's disrespectful. Because he's bigger and stronger and he's faster. Mario Craver's Spider-Man.
But Spider-Man's not an Avenger.
Yeah, he is.
I don't think so.
He is.
He's an Avenger?
He's an Avenger.
I thought the Avengers were only 5 guys.
It depends on which
one chick.
Huh?
And one chick.
Black Widow?
Black Widow.
Yeah, no, Spider-Man.
Okay.
The movie Civil War. I mean, you're talking about part 1 and part 2, Spider-Man did not join. If you're talking about the movie series. But yeah, Spider-Man's he's part
I thought the original Marvel comics.
Well, there's many variations.
Okay, we're losing everybody.
Yeah.
So let's move on.
Like Dick Grayson was Robin,
my bad.
but there was another Robin, right? Jason Todd was also Robin. Never mind.
Robin Hood.
And then Dick Grayson became Nightwing.
Nightwing?
Yeah, never mind. This is I think 9 people in our audience.
Yeah, we've lost everybody.
That's DC,
Come back
by the way.
to us.
Anyway, that wide receiver room, the way he explained it was pretty impressive.
Prolific. I like that word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope it's all true.
Now we're going to rewind and go back to the Marcel and the offense talk. Where is this offense going, Coach Wiggins?
Well, I think sky's the limit when you're talking about kind of what this offense can do if we continue to kind of clean those things up, right? And that's kind of the tail of the season, too. When you look at our last couple games, right, whether it be Texas, whether it be Miami, if we're able to take care of the ball and run the ball consistently, it's probably a totally different outcome, right? But that's kind of what we're talking about as we pop on the film. We can, all these ifs and buts, let's get to it to where we actually have the opportunity to do it. So we're trying to build these championship habits so we can have the elite outcomes.
End of those games. So we start off with Elko saying a lot of these turnovers happen when we were forcing it. He then kind of goes a different direction with it, hey, let's not have these ifs and buts. Let's get it cleaned up so we don't have to worry about that at the end of games.
Yeah, but understanding that also running the ball consistently and productively against Miami is defined differently than doing it against, say,
Missouri. No, Missouri's pretty good.
So LSU, who's had trouble stopping the run for a half a decade now. So I don't think he means that against a team like Miami, you have to go out and run for 150 yards.
Right.
You got to be able to run when you have to.
What's the name of the show?
This is TexAgs Live. It's brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers.
And what studio are we in, or where are we?
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Jason, Jackson, Keith Morgan, and everybody else over there.
Okay. And let's see. Where are we sitting?
We're in the Holistic Planning Cool Zone. It's cool over here, and it's cool to make money, especially when you have someone else working to make it for you.
If you, I guess we should tell the people the name of the hour.
Yes, the Go Hour.
Presented by the who?
Warehouse of CC Creations.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, there are two ways to do it. One of those ways is to call who?
The Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline.
That number, 979-693-1150. I think I'm going to see Buppy later on today. We have a little meeting going on.
Good
So
for you.
shout out
He's
to
a
the
good
Bucks.
guy. I like
He's a
old
great guy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's catering this meeting, but I think we're chatting about maybe doing some stuff in the future.
Oh, gosh, my weight's going to go back up again because the food's so good. I have to eat so much of it.
And the other way to contact the program is by texting the show. That number is also 979-693-1150, but we changed the name, OB.
Yeah, that becomes the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy PPE text line. Yes, I'm down with that PPE.
You are
text
down
line.
with PPE. DrinkCatalyst.com. Buy any 12-pack and get the second 12-pack for free. Use the code TexAgs at checkout to get the offer. Let's go around the room.
Let's do.
We'll go left to right, through the glass, through the television. We say hi to Nick Savage. Nick, good morning.
Good morning, y'all.
Hello.
Well, to be honest with y'all, I haven't really listened to Coach Wiggins speak. I know he's spoken a few times previously. Like, I've never listened to one of his pressers, and that's my fault. I should be more on top of that. But yesterday was really the first one that I listened to, and those two bites you pulled, David, are pretty good. And after looking at his resume, I mean, he was the head coach of the offense under Nick Saban at Alabama, and we hear all this talk about, well, yeah, he's a first-time coordinator, but you know, it's always a question. To me, just looking at it, he's got more than enough experience for me to have confidence in him going into his first year as a play caller, and listening to him talk as well. He gives me a lot of confidence that the offense is going to be pretty dang good this year.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I get it. Anytime someone's a new play caller, you worry, but I'm not thinking we're looking at a situation like, I don't mean to disparage anybody, but, you know, like you're going from Cliff Kingsbury to Clarence McKinney. I don't think we're going to see something like that. And even a guy like Cliff Kingsbury or anybody else, I've said this before, I know you have too, it doesn't matter how great an offensive coordinator or play caller you are, Lane Kiffin for that matter, somebody had to give him a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll see how this chance goes. Coach Elko's all in. And then offensively, if, you know, Marcel Reed has the blocking that I think he's going to get this year, right? If he gets the blocking, he's not getting hit and forces a turnover because of cattywampus situations, I do believe that the offense will be more efficient. Coach Wiggins will look like, not a genius, but he'll look like the right hire. And then Coach Elko will look like a genius.
All those things. You know, two things can be true, and all those things can be true.
All those things can be true. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Natalie Martin, back on the program. What up?
Morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be back.
Yeah? What do you got for us this morning?
So I want to highlight some of Luke Evangelist's reporting on the basketball roster. A lot going on there. A little bit of drama, if you will. Two big updates. Jordan Pope, the former Texas guard, notably a 5-5 ruling, now eligible thanks to a temporary restraining order granted in the state of California. So he will be enrolling in classes and eligible to play for the Aggies. Very exciting. And then we've also got some not so good news. Bryson Warren, who committed to the Aggies in April, coming from the G League, was also ruled ineligible. The NCAA is coming down hard on athletes that signed Exhibition 10 contracts in the G League, and kind of not following the precedent that was set last year where they did allow that to happen. So he's going to have to fight for his eligibility in court. Yeah, Luke Evangelist has been following all the latest news on those court cases. So stay tuned there for some more updates.
You know who's really pulling for Bryson Warren to be ruled eligible? I mean, really wants him. Really wants him.
Who's that?
The LSU Tigers.
Oh.
Because their whole team is G League transfers, right? Or almost like the majority of their team. So if this guy can't play, then that's saying everybody can't play.
I hadn't even thought of it from that perspective.
And they're starting over. They're starting from scratch.
So you know what the third wall is?
The third wall?
Yeah, I think that's what they call it. Like when on a TV show, I think it's the third wall. Am I right about this?
I think it's the fourth wall.
Fourth wall, sorry, the fourth wall. When, on a TV show, thank you for fixing my dumbness. When you address the audience, like during a show, like you talk to them, like Deadpool will talk to the audience. Michael Scott will talk to the audience. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
All right.
Like an aside.
I don't know what you call what I've done on this show, but there's like there's a bit going on in the YouTube chat.
Okay.
Okay. There's a bit going.
All right.
And I have fallen, not like, I'm just listening to the mob, okay? So for 2 straight days, they've wanted me to work in a word into the show.
Okay.
I forget what yesterday was. Today was cattywampus.
Cattywampus. I was wondering where that came from.
Yeah, and they
are you from Itasca? You know, I ask you if you're from Itasca.
Why?
Because their nickname, their mascot,
the Cattywampuses?
No, well, the Wampus Cats.
The Wampus Cats.
So Wampus Cats have a Cattywamp. What is a Cattywampas? What's the definition of Cattywampas?
Well, let's basically, this is what it says, because I was trying to figure out a way. In a football term, some kind of botched situation.
Okay.
All right.
A botched situation.
But when I said it, your face, the YouTube audience was like, did OB just, like did he just use cattywampus?
Cattywampus.
Because you are a wordsmith.
Oh, well, I once had an editor told me, bet me, he said, I bet you can't work polyester into your column on the game. Like,
you can work polyester.
That's so easy. Because I said, the Aggies are hoping for reach the Cotton Bowl, but with this performance, they wouldn't be polyester. It was too easy.
So easy.
Cattywampus much harder. I had a lady friend of mine once who asked me to work alacrity. Alacrity into a.
Don't give them any more
I put
options.
alacrity, and then I had editors coming over and saying, "What's this word alacrity?"
OB, so no cattywampus here when we go to 1775. What would be the word? If cattywampus is like disarray, I guess, what would be the opposite of that?
I don't know. Let's see. I'm not.
Perfection.
And I'm thinking just larrapin. When I go to 1775, it's larrapin. You know what it is?
Whoop.
It's an Epicurean delight.
Epicurean delight.
Yeah, it's a gastronomical experience. Yes.
Yeah.
Because you get that succulent brisket.
Tell me more.
And those amazing pork ribs.
One more time.
That outstanding jalapeno cheese sausage.
Hallelujah.
The tasty turkey.
Praise turkey.
Got some alliteration going there. Even if you're into pulled pork, I'm not, but other people are, and I'm told that it's amazing if you like pulled pork there. Of course, the queso mac and cheese. It's I love that queso, and I don't mind to say so.
Because I don't know.
It's worth $1 million pesos.
There we go. It is 1775 TXBBQ. Is that worth a lot, by the way?
I don't know.
Yeah.
$1 million anything's probably worth a lot.
$1 million pennies.
Have Natalie look up what's $1 million pesos.
$1 million pesos.
What that's equivalent to in the U.S. dollar.
All right.
But anyway.
Tell me more.
That's
that's enough.
It's good.
1775 TX. You have the number?
$58,968 US dollars.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah,
and
it's
2 cents.
worth it.
Heck yeah. All right. 979-492-6241 is 1775.
It is good.
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that.
or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. The audience cannot get mad at shorter breaks because we have shorter breaks now. The time it takes me to go get my coffee, say, "Hi, Richard, how are you?" We're back, and I'm late. So, TexAgs Live.
We had a good East Texas boy, Don Henley,
in the fast lane.
entertaining the audience.
Yeah.
From old Linden Kildare High School in Northeast Texas.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
How do you remember people's high schools? You're very good at that.
Well, I can't remember all of them, but okay. So one of the reasons I know is just one of them is because when I worked at the Austin American-Statesman, and I went there first as a high school reporter, and one of the things that we'd do whenever they'd have the state basketball tournaments would come to Austin, and we would do like some capsule information on every team, boys and girls. So it'd be 40 teams. And one of the things we would have in this capsule information is most famous former students. Like I didn't know until I did that Michael Stipe, the lead singer for R.E.M., had gone to Coppers Cove High School.
Huh.
I don't know if he graduated there. His dad was in the Army.
That's where RG3 went, right?
Maybe.
I think he went to Coppers Cove.
Yeah.
Hey, let's do 25 and 25, shall
Let's
we?
do.
Even though it's time for a break. 25 and 25 is presented by Paragon Financial Advisors, an Aggie-owned independent fee-only fiduciary serving families and business owners nationwide. Visit paragon-adv.com. Number 8 on the list, OB, is
Des Ricks. I guess now he's a junior cornerback.
Yeah, third year at A&M. Played 1 year at Alabama, but yes, from a football sense. Let's chit-chat about him.
Well, you know what I was really impressed with him was I just learned about a few weeks ago, is that he played all last year with a torn labrum.
Yep.
So he's obviously a tough guy. Had 26 tackles playing with a torn labrum. I mean, I admire that. I mean, when I think of Des Ricks, though, the play that comes to mind for me goes back to his first year here.
Okay.
And they're playing Arkansas in a game that was a tight game. And quarterback from Arkansas, might have been KJ, might have been Green. I think it was probably Green. He's being flushed out of the pocket. He's rolling to his right. And he has a receiver that looks open. And he throws to the receiver. And Dez comes from behind, is able to contort his body to get it in front of the receiver without going, going through, making contact and getting what was a huge interception in that game.
Yeah,
I want to see a lot more of that this year, hopefully.
There's a little Tyreek Chappelle vibe to him, and what I mean by that is not the way they play the game. But do you remember when Tyreek Chappelle came in, I think it was 21, I think it was 22, and they were picking on him quite a bit?
Mm-hmm.
And then he got better, and he got better, and he got better. I remember there was a time people would pick on Dez a little bit, and he got better, and he got better, and he got better. And now he's in your top 10 of this 25 and 25. He's number 8. And the way Coach Elko's talked about the secondary speaks volumes about where Des Ricks is.
Well, yeah, because when Mike Elko says, this is the best secondary I've had as an A&M coach, and you go, oh, okay. Well, you only have one returning starter at cornerback, and that's Des Ricks. And you've had teams with Jalen Jones at cornerback. You've had teams with Will Lee at cornerback. Yeah. So obviously, to make that statement, he holds Des Ricks in high regard.
Yeah, absolutely, he holds him in high regard. He's always had the length. He's always had the speed. He's had the ball skills. He's had the confidence. Now he's got wisdom and a lot of experience, a lot of SEC experience.
And we're assuming a healthy shoulder. When you're playing cornerback, there are times, I know all those years you played cornerback, you have to reach up
and touch the sky
and not knock a pass down or reach out. Well, you know what? If I got a torn labrum,
it's hard.
It's hard to do it, and it's painful.
Yeah. Yeah, he...
So hopefully he's all those things he has.
How did A&M do with him as your cornerback last year when it comes to passing on this defense?
Well, A&M was third in the SEC in pass defense.
And that, to me, the fact that they were third and didn't have a lot of interceptions, it's just mind-boggling to me. Just one of those weird years that it just didn't happen the way it should have.
Yeah, and I expect Dez to be one of those guys that gets more of the INTs.
Yeah.
I mean, he has the ability, like I said, they play against Arkansas was so athletic to be able to get around the receiver without making contact, where it would have been interference to make the interception. The only thing I was disappointed in that game on that play was he didn't keep his feet and run with it a little bit.
Yeah. So I think, and there should be another person in the secondary in the top 10 that comes up, right?
Okay.
I think with those returning guys, all right, the new guys you've brought in, like Taufik Bayard being in the mix.
Looks good player.
Right?
Looks like he's a good player.
He looks like he's going to be a really good player. That's Marcus Ratcliffe, his growth. And we're talking about some of these guys we're talking about. Now, Taufik is new, but Marcus has been here for a while. Bryce Anderson's been here for a while. And you have Jordan Shaw now has been here for a while. I mean, and obviously Dalton Brooks. You've got some veteran pieces that have all played together.
Yeah. In fact, we don't know what the starting lineup is going to be. And Elko doesn't want anybody to know. But I'm projecting, the only starter that I'm projecting that wasn't here last year and starting last year at some point is Ricky Gibson.
And that's if he starts.
Yeah, I'm projecting he'll be a starter.
Yeah. But
not that I know, I'm just projecting.
Yeah, and he's pretty darn good. But Lyle Hemphill said we got to, it's a good problem to have multiple guys because Julio
Humphrey's apparently been playing really well.
Right. So, all right, we'll hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, let's get a little bit more into what Coach Elko had to say. Now we're going to go to the offensive line, which has been the biggest story about this team all offseason, right? When you say that's probably that and Marcel, and they go hand in hand.
Marcel, quarterback's always the biggest story, but the biggest key to this, and that's been talked about, is that O-line.
We're talking Rollo Insurance now. The difference is real. They'll take care of your homeowner's insurance. They'll take care of your farmer's insurance. They'll take care of your ranch insurance. They'll take care of your hobby farmer's insurance, your business insurance. And you know their priorities, God, family, and country. That's how they roll, guys. And they are the very best when it comes to finding the right insurance situation for you. My guy at Rollo is Morgan, but they have so many great people. You know Jason, Jackson, Keith, the entire team there at Rollo Insurance. They will take very good care of you, whatever the situation may be. You got kids about to start driving? Reach out to Rollo Insurance. They're going to find you the best insurance for them at the right price. They got offices all over Texas, over 60. The difference is real. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com. That's rolloinsurance.com.
I'm Wes Mangan, and I live on a piece of property with my wife and 2 boys and several animals. I work in oil and gas, and I travel a lot, and so when I come home, it's like my sanctuary. I get to see Lauren and the boys, and it's been just a perfect fit for us, and it's really improved our family time. And this is the first land I'd ever purchased, so dealing with the land side of things and dealing with Capital Farm Credit was super easy for us through the whole process. I definitely feel like with Capital Farm Credit, together we are better.
At Brazos Valley Floor & Design, the Morrow family has helped Bryan College Station homeowners remodel with confidence for over 25 years, backed by the Adore Your Floor guarantee.
When you're ready to update a kitchen, refresh a living room, or renovate the whole house, come see the latest in flooring, from designer carpet to laminate, luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, and tile.
We're 2 generations, hands-on from design to installation.
Brazos Valley Floor & Design, best floor and design since 1999.
And that's a promise.
We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Earlier in the show, we started over there in the holistic planning cool zone. OB, let's talk offensive line.
Okay, let's do.
So I asked the question to Coach Elko about like, hey, can you actually see an offensive line working at this point?
That's a good question.
Thank you. Because in my mind, you can't. I mean, yes. And I think the way he answered it was perfect. There are things, it was very honest. There are things that you can see, and we'll let you guys listen to it here in a second, that make you feel good about it or bad. But you won't really know until you know, right? But he also said, with my years of experience, I can tell when things are working, right? So let's listen to him break it down, and we'll break it down afterwards.
I think you can see a lot of things in practice. Obviously, I think you can identify a lot of things just from years of experience doing it and knowing what it should look like. Like the biggest challenge you always have in fall camp, and this is, I think, is our biggest, like as we're battling through this, is there's not a lot of relative comparison that you've played with on a field in SEC football, right? And that's where, you know, if you had just lost the O-line and you knew what the D-line was, or you just lost the D-line and you knew what the O-line was, we've got two groups battling that are all relative unknowns, right? And so I think until you get to September 5th and start rolling it out there against competitive people, it'll be a little bit of a wait and see.
Relative comparisons in SEC play. I think that was a great way to frame it, because it's not just the offensive line that we don't know. It's the offensive line and the defensive line, right? Although I think we feel pretty good about the defensive line because of track record, and DJ Hicks, we've seen enough from him to know that he should be good. I think we've seen enough from Anto Saka at another stop to make you feel like and Marco Jones here, a lot of guys. The unknown on the offensive line, I think, is a bigger unknown, because it's like the Avengers comparison earlier. We don't know how they're going to work together, right? But I think that was a great answer, because two parts. A, it was very honest. Like, we won't know until we see it in September and beyond. But we also have it. We don't know how good the defensive line is. So if they're doing great against the defensive line, what does that mean? We don't know how good the offensive line is if the defense is doing really well against them.
Yeah. If they're holding up against this defensive line, I'm going to feel pretty good, because I think that defensive line is going to be good. Now, I don't think the defensive line might necessarily be as deep as last year, but you give me DJ Hicks at tackle, I'm fine. All right.
Yep.
TJ Searcy's already played there. I know what he is. And we'll find out about Saka as opposed to Cassius Howell. But I'm really optimistic.
Sure.
The one area in that defensive front that I just don't know about is that tackle opposite DJ Hicks. But you got Landon Reed, you got the guy CJ Mims, you got the guy from Colorado. I heard Angelo McCullum, is that his name?
He's coming in later on today, I believe.
Damian Sanford talked glowingly about him in Tampa. So I feel good about the defensive line. I really do. Now, the offensive line, I don't know. But if they're holding up against those guys, I'm not saying dominating. I'm saying if they're holding up against those guys, then that gives me more optimism, because you're going to have 4 new starters.
Right.
Any way you slice it, 4 new starters, and they probably have never played together. So, you asked about the cohesion last week.
Yep.
And I think Wilkins, that's a great question. So we'll see. We'll see how fast it comes together.
Let's now look at the opposite side. So I know we framed both the offensive line and defensive line, but I believe it was you who asked Coach Elko about the defensive line.
Yeah, the front 7, which I should say front 6.
Yeah. But he gave 7.
Yeah.
He gave it all. Here's Coach Elko on that.
So front 7 on defense, I think it's good. I think we have a lot of bodies that are capable of going out there and helping us. I think the competition has been really, really intense. It's playing out like we hoped it would, which was, we felt like we had to go elevate the whole level of everything. And so you brought in some guys and you wanted to see them compete. And so you see Ray Coney and Noah McHale and Jordan Lockhart out there competing every day, trying to earn opportunities to play this year. And I think because of that, all 3 of them are elevating every day. I think you got the same thing at end, you got the same thing at D-tackle. And so it's been good. It's been really competitive. I think we're starting to see it rise and the level rise to where we want it to be. And, we're getting close to halfway through camp, and it's got to keep going.
Getting close to halfway through camp, that sounds so magical to me, because, we got, 2 weeks till we are the first game, right? 2 weeks from Saturday?
I guess I just count wrong because I thought they were way past halfway through camp.
Maybe
wasn't that the 11th practice?
Maybe.
I mean, how many camp practices do they get?
Maybe just time-wise, right? Because we're still
maybe.
2 weeks out. 2 weeks out, but
one of those weeks is going to be game week.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So okay, I'm not going to be. I know I'm that guy that says it's not fall camp, it's August camp. Fall doesn't start till September 20th. But so I'm semantics. I'm getting worried over semantics.
So I've asked you this before, but if I tell you the D line and the offensive line both grade out at B.
9, 3, 10, and 2.
Yeah. And the likelihood of this defensive line being at least a B in your eyes is?
90%.
The likelihood that the offensive line is a B or above is?
75%.
Okay, 75. That's good.
Yeah, I mean, it's Adam Cushing. I mean, they're not going to be bad. I don't think they're going to be. I've seen some since off and on watching covering A&M since '93. I've seen some bad offensive lines, and sometimes it only takes one bad guy to screw up the whole offensive line.
Or one bad coach.
Or that too. So I'm, so I don't think they're going to be bad. But how good are they going to be? Because they're going to have to block some good defensive fronts.
And when are they going to be at their best? I really want November best with really good before.
Yeah, see them build. And we've referenced this before. I think there were 2 lines in the SEC last year, 2 prominent lines that were replacing 4 starters. One at LSU never got better. In fact, got worse. One at Texas got better.
Got better as the year went on.
Yeah. Hopefully they will. Again, I'm going to make my judgment. It won't be the final judgment. It'll be the first report card thing.
Yeah.
After they play Arizona State.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And hopefully they'll continue to get better.
Speaking of offensive lines, a lot of people have been ridiculing Oklahoma's offensive line because they weren't very good last year. I think Dusty Dvorak, whose show is changing, by the way.
they had 3 freshmen.
Yeah. But if we can perceive that there's going to be growth, right? If we think that there's going to be growth because of year 1 to year 2 or year 2 to year 3, you would think Oklahoma's offensive line would, if they have 3
I
guys.
expect them to be better.
Yeah.
But how much better? That's the question.
That
And
is
same
the
question with A&M. I expect them to be good, but how good?
Yeah. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. Final segment here on the Go Hour. Right now, we're talking Bubba's 33. All right, you go to Bubba's with me.
I've been there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you had a burger there?
Yes, I have.
Did you like the burger?
Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Big, right?
Yeah, big burger.
Yep. Have you had the pizza there?
No, but I've seen people eat it. I'm thinking, man, that looks really good.
Have you had the wings there? You're not a big wings guy, right?
Oh, I love wings.
Okay.
Yeah.
The wings there, I love. I say it like that, too. I love.
You love.
I love the wings there. Yeah.
Sound like Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber said, I like it a lot.
Guess what?
I like the wings a lot.
Guess what? I didn't watch it.
Well, you should. It's a great comedy.
I'm just not a Jim Carrey guy.
It's a great comedy. No matter who is.
Just can't. It's too late. Anyway, if they play it at Bubba's, I might watch it because they got wall-to-wall TVs.
They do.
They got pizzas all day on Tuesdays for $11.99. On Mondays, the burgers are $10.99.
Wait, I get a pizza for $11.99 there?
A pizza
on Tuesday?
for $11.99.
Well, I know what I'm going to be doing on Tuesdays now.
There you go. So make sure you check out Bubba's 33 on Highway 6 in College Station. Muy delicioso.
Yeah.
Everybody, David Nuno here from TexAgs, here with some of our new friends from Frog Slayer. We've got the CEO, Ross Morrell, and the VP of Revenue, Jacob Stone. Ross, I want to start off with you. Who is Frog Slayer? What do you all do?
Yeah, Frog Slayer is a custom software, AI, and automation company. We're based here in College Station. We've got about 50 employees right here, almost all Aggies. We've been doing this since 2005, about 21 years. Really what we do is we partner with business owners of growing businesses. And our goal is to come in, help them actually realize the promised technology in their company so they can create a company that is worth more than is tomorrow, that is today, and run a better business.
Jacob, I do want to ask you what's different about Frog Slayer's approach when it comes to AI?
Yeah, absolutely. So we don't just do AI, we do AI right. And so what that means is we embed ourselves inside of our client's team, and we help them plan, build, and ship solutions that they can deploy to a production environment that anyone can use.
All right, Ross, I've got to ask you, why the name Frog Slayer?
Yeah, it's an old riff off Mark Twain quote. So he said, the hardest thing you got to do today is eat a frog. It's best to do it first thing in the morning. So that's kind of our ethos of doing hard things first. And it's also a nice tie into gigging.
Yeah, I love that. Jacob, let's close out. Where can we all find Frog Slayer?
Yes, you can find us online at frogslayer.com.
All right, thank you very much to both of you, Ross and Jacob. Check out Frog Slayer. And we're back on the show that we call TexAgs Live, OB.
You know, I don't mind the long breaks when they're playing Bob Seger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Next time that you're in a segment with me that I go long, make sure they bring in some Bad Bunny and Tupac, just for you.
Yeah, yeah. I might just leave then.
Yeah, well, maybe that's
the plan.
Maybe that's the plan.
That's the plan.
Natalie Martin at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. She's got some wisdom to, what's the word? Wisdom to pass on.
Okay. Impart?
Impart. There you go. What do you got for us?
So speaking of report cards, like we did on the last segment,
yeah.
CBS Sports has ranked in tiers the top 25 for their capability to win a national title.
All right.
First was S tier, and then we go through the alphabet.
Okay.
Why wouldn't A be the first
A tier? What does S stand for?
Super?
Super.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, super. Okay.
But A&M was at a B.
A B.
So
I'll take a B right now.
So they had the top 7, the AP top 7 as S tier. And then they had 3 teams in the A and then A&M at the B. And what they said is that they thought A&M really straddles the line between A and B tier. But the worries are the O-line, of course, and the new coordinators. Of course, there's also the increased difficulty of the schedule.
Yep. I think that's...
So I think it was a fair.
That's very fair.
ranking.
Yeah.
Based on the questions, I think that's fair.
I just, to me, when I get it, there's some question or concern about the offensive coordinator. I mean, I know there's a defense coordinator name, but as long as Mike Elko's over there as the head coach, I think the defense is going to be okay.
Yeah.
But everything else is fair. Yeah, no issues with that.
I have, not only do I have questions, I don't know if this is a national championship contending team. I don't know.
I wonder where Indiana was rated.
They were
in a situation like that last year.
Oh, good question.
I wonder.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what are you?
I'm just saying, like, I don't know if A&M's the national championship contending team. I'd probably put it in that same second to third tier, right? I'd probably put in that same.
All I want to see right now, as today, I want to see is A&M a playoff contender? Because you can't win a championship unless you get into the playoff. And what if Miami was what? Number 12 seed?
Yeah.
So they barely got in. And they played for the national championship, and it was a damn good game. It came down to the wire.
It was either going to be Miami or Notre Dame.
So, and then Ole Miss was, I'm not saying they barely got in, but I wonder how many people thought of them as a national championship
Ole Miss
contender,
completely redid their
especially when
roster.
they lost their starting quarterback and their head coach.
Yeah.
And still, damn near, remember, Miami beat them on a touchdown run in the last 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So, and I wonder where they were on the tier last. I don't worry about those things. Just get into the playoff. Are you a playoff contender? And then I'll worry about the national championship once you get into the playoff.
Are you a playoff contender in November? And then I'm going to take it a step further. Because you could be a playoff contender in November and finish 8-4.
Yes. You can.
So let's not be that kind of playoff contender.
That means you're a playoff contender in early November.
Right.
Be a playoff contender in late November.
Yeah, how about this? November 20th?
Thanksgiving.
How about the December 1st?
How about already have it locked down?
How about we just win a
Like
national
last
championship?
year. Yeah, let's
just freaking do it. Anyway, anything else to close out? Any good comments, Natalie?
Yeah, just my commentary on that.
Okay.
I think that it's really about peaking at the right time, which A&M obviously did not do last year. And your point on Miami and Ole Miss is they were really just going up the more games that they played in the playoffs. So I think if A&M can do that, then maybe they rise to that A or that S tier. But yeah, the B tier that they had them in was having the criteria was have big roster questions, but are talented enough. Which
So you can ask.
Hey,
it's fair.
Sky's
All you
the
can
limit.
ask. When guys go to the NFL, you got to fill some holes. All you can ask for that kind of assessment.
Again.
Who was that? The AP? Who was that?
That was CBS.
Oh, usually I hate them.
It depends on who's writing for CBS.
If it's the
They're all over the
Brockemeyer,
place. Yeah.
and is it Bud Elliott? Is he part of them?
I don't know. I know he doesn't like Marcel.
Chris, Hummer. All right, we'll hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, John Harris.
See ya.
Bye. Welcome in. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 2 of the program. We're going straight Houston this hour. It won't only be about Houston. Trust me about that. But we got Greg Bailey at 9:35 from ABC 13, a great Aggie. We're going to chit-chat about the Aggies and the Texans. And John Harris with us right now on the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Houston Texans sideline reporter, footballtakeover.com founder, and my dear friend. Johnny, good morning, buddy.
I'd like to think that I transcend Houston, that I'm more than just Houston. But, yeah, I am Houston, so I own it. And all those Aggies that are listening in the Metroplex and other places in Texas don't care for Houston. Well, sorry about that, because Greg Bailey's got the best pipes you're ever going to find and one of the greatest dudes you're ever going to meet. And I'd like to think I'm in that category as well. So, David, good morning. How are you?
Johnny, buddy, we could talk about anything. We could talk superheroes. We can talk, maybe not politics, but we could talk a lot. We got a lot on the agenda, Johnny.
Yeah, I've always said the two things you'll never know about me are my politics and my religion. You won't know those things about me. So if you like me for my takes and what I have to say and how much I know, not because I lean one way politically or not. So those are the two things you'll never know about me, unless you are in my family. Other than that, I'm good that way. But yeah, you're right, Dave. We can talk about pretty much anything. But we do obviously like to specialize in the Texans and talking SEC football and the Aggies, et cetera.
I'm a little bit of a leaner, but that's okay, Johnny. Let's talk about turnovers at the end of games. So one of the things that Coach Elko was asked about yesterday was Marcel's turnovers, and he hasn't had any or at all at camp so far. And he went on to say that, like, look, sometimes these turnover talk about Marcel is a little overblown because you got to think about when they happened. He was trying to make something happen at the end of the Texas game, trying to make something happen at the end of the Miami game. So not all turnovers are the same. I agree with that, but I also think you want your quarterback to be at his very best at the end of games. So I always go back to the totality of Marcel's season. So I guess long way of saying Marcel Reed, we've talked about him a lot. I know you've defended him here on the show. What do you think about turnovers at the end of the games and Coach Elko's point?
Yeah, there definitely is something that has to do with, end of the game sort of situational stuff. And as we have found out, end of the season stuff. Because as it was for C.J. Stroud, as it was for Marcel, if you didn't and don't finish the season well, then you're going to catch all kinds of grief, because that's the last thing we saw of you. And here's the flip side of that. And I'm not. It's just the first example that comes to mind. But there's a lot of run about Arch Manning all across the country. He's back to being the number one quarterback prospect, et cetera. Well, why is that? Well, look at how he finished the season. Look at what he did to finish the season. It's all about the finish for a lot of people. They forget about the beginning, because when you finish well, then, made growth throughout the year. And then, look, it culminated, at the end of the season. And I think it's the same way in a game. You kind of build yourself into a ladder. Okay, struggle maybe in the first couple series, kind of finding a rhythm. But, oh, man, look at in the fourth quarter, finish strong. We remember the great drives. Think about Tom Brady. Tom Brady in the first Super Bowl he had against the St. Louis Rams. Tom Brady didn't do a whole lot until the final drive. He led them down for a game-winning field goal. Brady was a hero. But he didn't do a whole lot in that game. He threw one touchdown pass to Dave Patton. He didn't turn the ball over. But he didn't do a whole lot until the final drive. He got better doing things for all four quarters, but we remember the finish because it's the last thing that we saw. And the narratives get built off the last thing we saw. And so throwing fourth quarter picks, throwing interceptions at the end of drives, it's the last thing that we've seen. And so we tend to, the finish, the end, that's what we remember. Now, at the end of a drive, you're obviously costing your team some points. And that's a tough one to overcome. Hey, we had 3 in our pocket. We threw an interception we shouldn't have. I've had this conversation with CJ. I've had it with a lot of quarterbacks. And they get frustrated about the whole, hey, don't throw interceptions. You can't throw interception here, all that kind of stuff. They start getting tight. And so the one thing I don't want Marcel to do is to get tight. Like I get in the red zone and there's a guy open, but he's not open. And so you don't take that quote unquote chance to throw the ball. And so you take maybe something that's not there. You don't get in the end zone. You got to settle for 3. You got to find that balance in your confidence of, you know what? I can put that ball in there. I can't think about the interception. I got to think about what talent I have. I got to trust the play call. I got to trust that my receiver is going to continue. I'm going to throw him to an open spot, and then I'm going to, hopefully get a touchdown out of it. I'm going to make good decisions, and that's the balance. How do you make good decisions in the red zone and down in the low red zone? How do you make those good decisions? And that's the only thing you can ask for as a coach. Look, if you throw an interception because you didn't see a guy that jumped into a passing lane, okay, the defense is going to beat you every now and again. But if you do something where you're scrambling left and you try and throw it back across your body and throw a pick in the red zone, okay, those are ones that you should be concerned about. Those are the ones that you can't have happen. But you're going to get got in the red zone. You're going to get got in the low red zone. You're going to turn the ball over. But you've got to, at least in the fourth quarter of games, and hopefully in those 2 areas, that's where you got to be a little bit more careful about what you're doing with the football. And I think Marcel does that. I think he was trying to make plays. And look, only Marcel can know, his thought process on certain situations. But it just felt like he was a victim of himself trying to make plays. And I don't fault the guy for that. But that's a tricky balance for a quarterback. But a guy in his 3rd year as a starter now, that balance should be well known. He should know what throws he could make. He should know how to handle situations at the end of games. He should know how to handle the low red zone a little bit better. And so my hope is that this is the year where it all comes together. But I'm not expecting 100%. No quarterback is 100% in those areas. But you got to minimize the ones where you go, man, I really shouldn't have thrown that ball. Those are the ones you've really got to try and minimize at the end of games, the end of drives, the end of halves, and definitely at the end of a drive in the red zone in particular.
Talking to John Harris here on TexAgs Live. Johnny, what do you think, if you had to key in on 2 areas that would determine if A&M is in the mix for a playoff spot late November, what would those 2 areas be?
Well, I think offensive line synergy. I mean, obviously, they had a number of guys go to the NFL. And so I feel like you've got to have that offensive line synergy. Now, the one I'll mention, but it's for every team, not just specific to A&M. I think the offensive line cohesion is specific to A&M because of all the guys they've lost on the offensive line. But health goes up number 1. I think it goes without saying, but it really doesn't. We've seen years where teams are ballyhooed, and all of a sudden you lose an All-American here, you lose an all-conference guy there, and before you know it, you got your 2nd or 3rd team player playing in a key spot, and that player ends up costing you games down the road, or just because you don't have enough depth because of injury. So injuries go up on the top. But I think offensive line synergy, I definitely think that's one. And then I feel like, and it goes, I guess it goes with the offensive line synergy, so I'll say it together. Just peeling back another layer of the run game. Losing Le'Veon, I know Le'Veon had been banged up, losing EJ. There are 2 guys, when healthy, they helped create a running back by committee that was always keeping guys fresh. And so if you want to stay running back by committee, I think they've got enough guys, and I'll call them just ball carriers because, Busty can be whatever you want him to be, whether a running back, wide receiver, slot, whatever. So I think you've got enough guys that can make plays dynamically, but you're losing a couple guys in that kind of running back by committee. So where do those carries go? That kind of goes with the offensive line as well. On the flip side, I feel like this is going to be one of those years where they're facing some pretty good quarterbacks. And so I feel like the secondary has got to play at a high level, especially at the corner. Losing Will Lee. And, it's funny, as I would watch Will last year, there were times where I'm like, that dude's an All-American. Then I'd watch and go, that dude should not play. He'd be all over the place. It's going to be interesting. I'll see him next week in Carolina. But I think they've got to have good corner play. They're going to face some superstar receivers and some unreal quarterbacks this year. And I feel like that corner play has got to be good, especially how they want to play that defense. So to me, I feel like offensive line synergy with the subtitle, hey, running back by committee, how do we kind of handle that with losing a couple of key guys from last year? And then I feel like the corner play has got to be really, really good against the quarterbacks that they'll face and the wide receivers that they're going to end up facing this year. Now, they get great practice. It's I think A&M's got one of the better receiving corps in the country and definitely in the SEC. So they're getting tested, but I feel like that corner play has got to be really good, which will allow them to open things up front where they can work games and stunts, bring 5- and 6-man pressures, and feel like they're covered on the back end. They're great in the middle. We know that. They're great in the middle at safety. So I think it's the corners that I worry a little bit. I'm not panicked, but I feel like that's if any team, any defense in the SEC is going to struggle, I think it's going to be against the receivers and the quarterbacks that they'll end up facing this year in the conference.
Talking to John Harris here on TexAgs Live. Johnny, let's turn our attention to the NFL. Von Miller to the Cowboys. What did you think about that pickup for the Cowboys?
Yeah, I thought it was a great move, actually. The Cowboys have been, they had to repair that defense. I mean, any Cowboy fan knows. And they've been really excited about what, Cowboy fans have to be excited about what they've done. I think the biggest move for them was bringing in Christian Parker as the DC. I think he's just going to bring a much more consistent unit. I think they're going to be better coached. And I think adding the talent that they did, Caleb Downs, Malachi Lawrence, bringing in Rashawn Gary, I think he's underrated. I watch the Packers a ton. So seeing Rashawn Gary, I think he's going to be a good fit for that defense. But what you'd like to be able to have defensively is speed. And I still think that Vaughn has it. Vaughn still has that speed and explosiveness off the edge. And like Jadeveon Clowney now in Houston, Vaughn doesn't have to play 35 plays a game. He can go get 20 to 25 pass rush reps in a game, and he's going to get to the quarterback probably 2 or 3 times out of that. Maybe get a sack, but he's going to create some pressure, create some problems for quarterbacks. He's going to create some problems depending on where they line him up. I'll be curious to see if they want to move him around a little bit, or by having him, does that allow them to move other guys around the formation a little bit that might create some problems? I mean, Quentin Williams is a problem wherever he lines up. Kenny Clark is a problem just on that inside. Rashawn Gary, he can move around a little bit. That's one of the best athletes we've seen come out of the combine 6-7 years ago. So they've got other pieces that might move around and leave Vaughn on the outside, or they can leave those pieces there and move Vaughn around a little bit. And what you're trying to do, which is pretty obvious, is just create problems for offenses. When you go to third down, okay, now Von Miller comes in the game. What to expect, not only from him, but from Christian Parker in that defense. For Cowboys fans' sake, I hope the secondary holds up. I think Downs is going to be a great player, but he's not, I'm going to go outside and lock somebody up kind of thing. He's more of a chess player. You can move him around. He can cover a little bit better, but he's like Jalen Petrie in a sense. He's really good near line of scrimmage. He's not going to be tremendous in man coverage, but he's a great chess piece to have in your defense because of what you can do with him and the type of football player he is. But to me, the key is the linebackers. Overshown has got to play tremendous football this year. They need him to play well at linebacker, and they need the corners to step up. But they've really increased the athletic profile of that defense, which they needed to do. Now it's got to come together. When they play the Texans in week 4, it may not all be there. But I think by the time they get to midseason, by the time they get to Thanksgiving game, I think they're going to end up having that defense right where Christian Parker wants it. And I think adding Von Miller to giving a smart defensive coordinator a chess piece like Von Miller is absolutely just gold. And I think the Cowboys did a smart thing in getting Von Miller to come to the Cowboys.
John Harris here on TexAgs Live. All right, John, talk to me about practicing with the Raiders.
So in a joint practice, which I don't know if people know or what they don't know, but in a joint practice, you have on one field, you have Texans offense, Raiders defense. The other field, it's the flip. You have Raiders offense, Texans defense. I didn't need to see our defense. I really didn't. I mean, I love watching our defense, but I didn't need to see it. But I wanted to see our offense against a different look. The Raiders run more odd front, 5-man fronts with nose tackle. You know, that's something we don't see in training camp a lot. Our centers haven't seen it a lot. So it was going to be good to see that. Our offense really, really took it to them. They really dominated the action. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a Texans homer. You know, last year, I was asked about what happened against the Panthers. I'm like, man, the Panthers went toe-to-toe with us. I was a little surprised that they went toe-to-toe with us, and you realize, the Panthers ended up winning the NFC South. They were a better team than maybe we thought at the time. But in those joint practices, we could see the seedlings of something. The Raiders have got a long way to go. Defensively, they've got Max Crosby and no one else. No one. They went and got the 2 Georgia linebackers, Quay Walker and Nakobe Dean from the Eagles, and that's it. They don't have much. They got some young guys I like in a draft, but we did whatever we wanted to offensively against them, which was a great sign. And the flip side of it is, you can't get too excited about it because that's a defense that's going to struggle all year long. And they play the AFC West twice. They play the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers twice, 6 games against Herbert, Mahomes, and Bo Nix, and that could be a lot of trouble for them. So I guess what I'm saying is if you're a gambling fan, you might think about the under, the Raiders. But I'll tell you this, Fernando was fun to watch. I didn't watch much of him. I saw him make a couple of throws. A couple of them he'd like to have back. But, man, he made a throw to Brock Bowers on the sideline, Dave. That was just unbelievable. About 30 yards downfield. I mean, Kalen Bullock, who's one of the best cover safeties there is in the league, was on Brock Bowers like white on rice. And Fernando dropped it in a bucket about 30 yards downfield, right on the sideline. Bowers got both feet in. It was like, oh, my God. Okay, I get it. And they wanted Mendoza to get reps against our ones. And, again, a lot of it didn't go well. He's facing our ones for the first time, and he talked about that after in his press conference, how good it was to see our defense. But there's seedlings there. Like he's going to be a good quarterback. I just don't know when you hand him the football as the starter because that schedule for the Raiders is bonkers difficult, especially right out the chute. So they're going to have to worry about that. But the Texans look really good. The little I saw the defense had a couple of picks. That was nice. But the offense really ran the ball well. They're still not set on the offensive line, David, which I'm like, I get worried about that. But what I do know is the offensive line is playing well. They're just not settled on who the front 5 guys are. And that's a little disconcerting right now. But the guys they have in both groups, the first and second groups, are all playing really well. So I'm pleased with that. I don't know about Jaden Higgins, and that was some bad news yesterday. He slipped in the back of the end zone, like right in front of me. I don't know, it slipped or whatever. It happened right in front of me, but I had my eyes elsewhere, so I didn't see it. I just looked up and saw him pop up as he was sitting on the ground. My heart dropped because he's had such a good camp. So fingers crossed that Jaden's going to be okay. Because if he is, then we got a really good 1-2 punch at wide receiver. We got a good 1-2 punch at running back. The offensive line's coming together. I think tight end-wise, we're going to have a couple of really good tight ends. So this offensive firepower has gone up. We just got to now try and prove it against the good defenses we're going to face. So some good promising stuff, good step, and that's what it is. So we keep it in context, not blow it out of the water, but it was good to see the Texans offense do some good things yesterday.
Johnny, I'll close out with this. How cool was it to see Gary and Clint Kubiak yesterday in Houston together? I know obviously Clint spent some time there. Gary, obviously, and he doesn't age, by the way. He looks exactly like he looked when he was coaching the Texans, however long ago that was.
Yeah, Gary looked like he hadn't aged a day. It was amazing. It's cool. That's what these practices are fun when you go different places and you see people. I mean, yesterday I got out about 10 minutes early for practice, and I look over and on the bench where the offensive lineman, defensive lineman kind of sit during a break. I look over and there are 4 people sitting there, and it's Mark Davis, and I'm assuming his girlfriend, and then Tom Brady. I'm like, oh, this is weird. But that's what you get, with joint practice. You get things like that. So it's kind of cool. Gary was there. Andre Johnson showed up yesterday. Travis Johnson was there chopping it up. And I've always said this about the NFL, David. It's the biggest small league ever. Everybody knows somebody. So the reunions you have, especially if you've been around for a little bit, saw Daria Gumbawale with the Raiders, who was one of our favorites. Foley Fatukasi, defensive lineman for the Raiders, was one of our favorites. Got a chance to see them. But everybody knows everybody. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, you see two guys hugging, and you're like, okay, well, where were they together? Oh, they were together in college. This guy coached that guy in college. Oh, these two coaches coached together 1 year in Philadelphia. It's pretty amazing. And so I always love joint practice for that particular reason. Next week we'll go to Carolina, and Bryce and, CJ will get to hook up for another day. And they were, friends growing up. So it's always kind of neat to see that. But to see the Kubiaks there in black, it was a little weird, a little strange, but still cool nonetheless to see. Obviously, Clint having grown up and now being the leader of the Raiders, and Gary, just a Houston legend.
Johnny, great stuff, man. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right, brother. See you, man. Love you, man.
Love you, bro. John Harris here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. And what do we got on tap? We've got we're going to play an interview. We're going to come back and listen to Bobby Shuttleworth because they got their second road game later on today at Texas State. Right now, if you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what sets them apart is the over 9 CFPs, the CFA, and the CPA. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It's Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. Hey friends, David Nuno here for the Association of Former Students, and have you checked out the latest issue of the Texas Aggie magazine? The May through June issue is a special Aggie Spirits issue that includes all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. And the team at the Association of Former Students searched far and wide for Aggie-owned businesses, breweries, wineries across the state, the country, and even the world. That's right, the globe, baby. And as much as could be found has been compiled into the magazine for the Aggie Network. Now, normally, the Texas Aggie magazine is available only to Century Club members. However, this issue is available to everyone. So to read the issue and explore giving to receive future issues, visit tx.ag/Texas Aggie. That is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Again, don't miss the special Aggie Spirits issue of the Texas Aggie to explore all things Aggie: wine, beer, mead, spirits, and much, much more. It is tx.ag/Texas Aggie. Check it out. Hey friends, David Nuno here talking to my buddies. I got Sheldon and Danny Shelley of Aggieland Hydration. Sheldon, I want to start off with you. What is different about Aggieland Hydration?
So we're a 100% mobile IV company. We are opening a storefront later this year in Bryan College Station, but we come to you, and we have about 10 nurses that serve the area.
Danny, what's one thing that people get wrong about IV hydration?
The one thing I would say is everyone thinks the needle stays in your arm the whole time. So when you get poked with the needle goes away, a small little catheter stays in, and that's how you get your infusion.
And then Sheldon, do you guys do a bunch of events? Are you all around town?
Yes, we did the Troubadour Festival. We try to do one event a month in the Bryan College Station area.
That's great. That's why we see you everywhere. Danny, what's the best drip for somebody who's active, who thinks they're active? Weekend warrior, what's the best drip out there?
Yeah, so our overall wellness drip is our Myers cocktail. It has 6 different vitamins in it. That's what I would say for your average adult. People who are big into working out, or if they work outside a lot, I would recommend the Marine Muscle Recovery. That one has 10 different vitamins in it, and it's really geared towards recovery and removing toxins from the body.
All right, so if somebody wants to check you out, what's the website?
It is Aggieland Hydration and Injectables.com.
All right, the phone number, by the way, is 979-217-1561. It is Aggieland Hydration.
Everybody, and welcome into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Going to continue our soccer conversation. Bobby Shuttleworth is on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, joins us as they prepare for Texas State a little bit later on today. Coach Shuttleworth, how are you, sir?
Doing well, man. How are you?
I'm well. Thanks for making a few minutes. So it's kind of weird doing these interviews on Tuesday and Wednesday because a lot's happened since the last time I talked to you. So we're kind of taking it in parts. How would you say the first week of the season went for the squad? How do you feel about everything?
Yeah, I thought, the first two games were okay. I think this is a group that's still coming together. Like we've talked about, a lot of new pieces, a lot of new players. So, we found a way against Rice. I don't think it was our best performance, but I think the team put a shift in and battled and found a way against a physical and direct and tough team. And then obviously went to Baylor on Saturday, and I thought we had our moments, and I thought there were times where we were on the front foot and getting after them, and then there were times where we were a little reactive and far away from each other. And Baylor's a good team, obviously Sweet 16 last year, and returned a lot of those pieces. So just trying to build on those positives, continue to move forward as a group, and really start to hone in on the details and try to put together a full performance.
Where do you think? I think oftentimes coaches use a loss as a teachable moment. Where were your teachable moments? Was it the Rice game? Was it the Baylor game? Or are they all teachable moments?
Yeah, I think there's quite a few in both. Like I said, I thought we battled well against Rice. I think we're as a team struggling a little bit with the ball right now in terms of our rhythm and our passing, and I think we need to obviously improve in that way. And then of course we change shapes between games to try to get us a little bit closer together and get more players around the ball. And then I thought in Baylor, like I said, I thought there were moments where we were physical and engaging and proactive, and those are great things that we have on film to show. And then I thought there were times where we were, the opposite of those things. And there were also moments where we have to show the team, and when we're being attentive to the details and doing all the right things, we have the possibility of being a very tough team to play against when we're on the front foot. And then we have, also the possibility of being, can struggle at times to get pressure to the ball and to connect if we're not being proactive.
I think that's an interesting case because I don't think anybody thinks they're not being proactive, right? Like I think most people think they're giving their all. How do you get that level of intensity throughout an entire game? Is it just the standard has to be there's no laying off the accelerator, right? You just got to go, go, go.
I think it's that, and I think it's solving the game all the time. We talk a lot about no moments off. Even when you're far away from the ball, you should be making decisions in terms of what your positioning looks like, controlling space, putting in yourself in positions to control transition. So I think it has a lot to do with the intensity of your action, but it has a lot to do with the intensity of your decision making as well, to put yourself in position to limit spaces and be in good spots to put yourself close to having successful actions.
How would you assess the defense through two games?
I think similar to kind of our whole team right now. I think we've showed moments of being, difficult to break down. And I think we've had some really good performances. And I think I've been, a little up and down. And I think, we've obviously, again, like I said, changed shape. So roles and responsibilities change a little bit when that happens. But I think as a team, we have to be a little bit more tighter and closer to one another. And like I said, on the front foot and aggressive when we need to be aggressive. So I think, again, lots of positives, but also lots of things that we need to work on.
Talking to Bobby Shuttleworth here on TexAgs Live. Bobby, if we can, let's talk about the new addition to the roster. I know the release came out, but you've got a player that came in from Finland that should be helping you out at some point here in the early season. Talk to me about, is it Venla? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep, Venla, yep. Really excited about her. She's got a lot of experience in a lot of different environments, international experience playing with Finland's youth national teams from 7 different places, a lot of different coaches, a lot of different tactics, technical player. I think she's one that plays forward a lot and plays into good spaces. So we're trying to get her to a place now safely where, she's, physically at a good place, and don't want to rush her into something. So it's a work in progress for her right now, and us making sure that we're doing everything we can to get her up to speed as quickly as possible, but in a safe way.
Well, and the beauty is you've got a group that's been playing together for a while now, right? They've gone through your spring, they've gone through your camp, so you don't have to rush it, right? You can take a little bit of your time to get her up to speed.
We have a bunch of players that were here during the spring, and then of course, like we've talked about, a lot of new players. But I think with her, it's like we want to get her. She's done a great job, and the group has welcomed her with open arms, and she's integrated into the group as quick as possible. And she's feeling good and feeling comfortable. I think it's now getting her to a place soccer-wise where we're setting her up for success, and not just throwing her into the fire. Making sure that she's in a position where she's ready for what's coming, because she's soccer before, and college soccer is a lot different than soccer is played in different countries.
Bobby, we appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much. I know it's busy time. We'll catch up with you next week.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bobby Shuttleworth yesterday. I know there was a little technical issues towards the end, but appreciate him joining us here. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. GB on the other side. The Greg Bailey, ABC 13 sports director, and also my dear friend. Worked with him for about a decade. Milliken Reserve Time, farm-to-table community in College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces, and they have a mission to build a healthy community around nature. 2,600 acres of open space. They've got awesome trails, 30 miles of those, and homes everywhere. It's a place for families to cherish generation after generation. When you go there, you'll see all the animals you can imagine, from the white-tailed deer, the songbirds, the rabbits, the turtles, and homeowners at Milliken Reserve sharing a legacy of conservation, which means generation after generation, you're coming back to that pristine countryside place. Speaking of those neighborhoods, they got the creek, homes on 10-plus acre wooded estates. You've got the hollow in a private and gated community, and the meadows that are responsive to their natural surroundings. Milliken Reserve is rooted in Texas soil. If it sounds like a place for you, check out the website, millikenreserve.com. That is millikenreserve.com. When I hear Fat Pat and Tops Drop, I think of Greg Bailey. We're back here on TexAgs Live. Let's go to the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline, joined by my dear friend, my former co-worker, Greg Bailey of ABC 13 in Houston, a great Aggie and a dear friend. What's up, Greg? How are you, sir?
David, good morning, man. You've upgraded the music since we last talked.
GB, I was telling our staff here, I worked with you for 9 years, and I feel like we met just like 2 years ago. How are we getting so old, man?
It's crazy how that happens. One of the great truths of life is the older you get, the faster it goes. I don't know why it is, but it's absolutely true.
So, GB, let's start off with Texans. I know that ABC 13, obviously the home of the Texans. How do they look in camp so far?
They look outstanding. David, this is going to be somewhere between a really good Texans team and maybe a great Texans team. If this defense is healthy, this is going to contend for a generational type of defense. If it's possible, after an all-pro season, Will Anderson Jr. has absolutely elevated his game. The veteran leader inside that locker room, Sheldon Rankins, told us point blank that Will has reached the point that when he wants to take over the game, he's going to take over the game. And you can see it in practice. If the offense starts to have some success, Will will decide, and it's a sack, it's a pressure, it's a tackle for loss in a 3-play sequence, and then they quietly take him off the field, and then they go back to operating. And that, by the way, is not an indictment on this Texans offense. I've been impressed with what I've seen. The offensive line is better. If they're healthy again, they've got a chance to do some real damage in a heavily weighted AFC.
Talking to Greg Bailey here on TexAgs Live. GB, I know you grew up in Dallas. You spent a lot of time in the Metroplex. What do you think about Vaughn going to the Cowboys?
I think it's thrilling, man. The idea that the kid from DeSoto could go full circle on his way to a gold jacket at the Pro Football Hall of Fame and play for the Cowboys. And I never was, for a lot of different reasons, a Cowboys fan. I'm in the household that I grew up in as a third-generation Aggie. We always kind of rooted for the teams that had the Aggies on them. So, but just for him personally, the idea that he got to do that and has been such an incredible representative for Aggies everywhere, that's thrilling, man. And I think he can do some damage in the situational role. That ought to be for Cowboys fans out there. That's a great addition.
So I know you got to cross paths a little bit with Gary Kubiak. I forget how long you were there with him as the head coach, but yesterday he was at Texans practice with the Raiders being there and Clint obviously being the head coach of the Raiders. Did you get a chance to catch up with Coobs and just kind of some thoughts about his story at A&M and beyond?
Well, I saw him, didn't have a chance to catch up because we were, you know what training camps are like, particularly during joint practice. You're running in 5 different directions, hoping that you get every great storyline on video. But there's a whole bunch of really good reasons that Gary has a fistful of Super Bowl rings. One of the absolute all-timers. For me, growing up, the idea that we would have a quarterback from St. Pius come in and take over the Aggies in the late 70s and his ability to throw the football, which coming out of the Wishbone years was thrilling to Aggies everywhere. To see him have the success that he had as an extremely valuable player in the NFL, so valued by his teammates, and then go on to incredible success, both as an assistant coach and a head coach. One of the great thrills of my time here in Houston, they sent me to cover that Super Bowl in San Jose when Gary won it, and Vaughn was the MVP. It was very much the Aggie Super Bowl. I got to talk to Gary briefly the morning after. He was so thrilled. You know, his wife was there with him, and they were tired, but they were beaming. And he's left an incredible mark, and his sons are well on their way to really making the Kubiak family. They could very well be one of the great coaching families in the NFL.
Greg, let's turn our attention to Aggie football 2026. I know even though you're 90 miles away, you pay attention to what's happening here. What do you think about 2026 A&M football, Coach Elko, in year 3?
The idea that Mike Elko, David, in 2+ years has turned the A&M program into this, where great young talents like Lamont Rogers and Blake Ivy have to fight for playing time along the offensive line, that ought to excite Aggies everywhere. I know the transfer portal is part of that, but he does, and his staff, they both do such an incredible job at evaluating not just talent, but evaluating the kind of people who are going to fit in his program. the kind of people who love football enough that they want to go to work every day and improve and be developed. That development phase is one of the things that's going to be the hallmark of Coach Elko's run at A&M, and I expect it to be a great one. Development was missing. There were many years where players would show up and they'd kind of be the same thing that they were when they showed up. Across the board, you can see development. You see competition. You want to get on the field. You want to get reps. You've got to earn those things. That is a huge leap forward for the A&M program. That, as much as anything else, excites me. I follow you guys, and I enjoy it so much on TexAgs, the work that you guys do. The competition in the backfield is incredible. I know the coaches last year so excited about a guy like Jamarian Morrow getting carries along with Reuben Owens, and now you've added, players like KJ Edwards and Carson Baker to the mix. It's just phenomenal, the depth of talent that they have, and that's going to serve them well.
Greg, John Harris and I have often talked about C.J. Stroud's end of the season and Marcel Reed's end of the season and the way people look at them entering this year. I think Marcel, at times, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is judged a little bit too critically on the end of the season as opposed to the total body of work. Where are you on Marcel Reed in now basically his third year starting at A&M and in the SEC, and what you expect from him?
Yeah, the end of the season wasn't great, obviously, but it was team-wide. I really thought the last 4 games that A&M struggled. The miracle comeback, and give them a ton of credit for the comeback against South Carolina, it disguised the fact, David, that A&M didn't run the ball. The Samford game, they won handily, but even that wasn't crisp. And then you saw that carry over team-wide against Texas. You saw it carry over into the Miami game. But if you would have told me at the beginning of last season all of the incredible things that Marcel Reed would do for A&M football, I would have signed up for that in a heartbeat. Is he judged harshly? Sure, because now all of a sudden A&M is being judged by a national championship standard, and that's a huge leap forward for the program. Yes, you can go out there and lead them to 11 wins, but you didn't win the national title, but you didn't win 2 or 3 playoff games. The Miami game was judged so harshly because when A&M took the field and lost that game, Miami was only, quote-unquote, an ACC team. Well, then you saw what they did in the playoffs. They came a whisker away from winning the national title, and A&M obviously was toe-to-toe. Was it ugly? Yes. Did the wind have something to do with it? I'm sure that it did. But the idea that Marcel Reed, that walked off the field at Kyle Field after losing to Miami, is the exact same Marcel Reed that we're going to see this year, I think that's laughable. I think he's a talented guy. I think he's a leader. I think he meets his failures head on. And I think a lot of the things about C.J. Stroud are the same thing. I've seen C.J. Stroud at his absolute best. I've seen him at his worst in both those playoff games last year. Seeing C.J. every day in training camp, and I've seen almost every practice, every rep. He's a better quarterback, and I think Texans fans should be excited about that.
Greg, let's close out with some Aggie basketball talk. I know you love watching Aggie hoops. What do you think about Bucky and what he did in year 1, and now with this roster, what he might do here in year 2?
It's phenomenal. I mean, it is absolutely phenomenal. His energy and his outlook, everybody says the same things to me, and I've been around him a little bit. Loves being at A&M, loves what's possible at A&M. The idea that he could come in, David, last year when the portal was almost closed and fashion together a roster that has an upper-tier finish in a league like the SEC and then go win an NCAA tournament game, I thought was awesome. So impressed. You guys have talked about it, but the media session at the NCAA tournament, as you guys have said, it's cut short at the podium. So there goes the Texas A&M basketball coach out into the hallway to make sure that you and the other people that cover his program every day and take the time to do that, to answer all of your questions, make sure you're taken care of. That's next level kind of stuff. It's awareness. It matters. Such a great representative. I'm so pumped with the talent they've got in there. I know there was a little disappointment that Warren's not going to be eligible, but they sure look like they've taken care of that in the portal and given time to really develop his system, have a little more length on defense. I'm pumped, man. I think it's going to be awesome.
I missed you, brother. I hope we can catch up soon, and hopefully I'll see you at a game or at some point I'll see you in Houston.
Absolutely, David. Great being with you, man.
Later, buddy. That is Greg Bailey on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break, come back with the final segment for the 9 o'clock hour before Jason Howell takes over for Recruiting Country. And then we're going to close out with a little Jamie Morrison. I'll see if I can talk Kay into joining me in studio for that conversation. Right now, we're talking about Heritage Films, and they do documentary stories about families. If you love your family, get a documentary done. If you don't, you should still have a documentary done about how bad they were to you. I'm kidding. Aggies have great families, and I think you should tell your story. And you should have Chance McClain and his team tell that story as well in these 2-hour documentaries. They'll do it on a family business, a family ranch, a bunch of buddies that get together, a bunch of Aggies that get together for tailgating every Saturday for these games, whatever it may be. Let Chance and his team be an eye in the sky and tell that family story. I think you're going to love it, and it's really empowering, and it's something that the future generations are really going to look back and be like, wow, man, that was cool back in the day. You want to pass on those values to the future generations. Check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. Everyone, David Nuno here for Allen Honda. Had a great conversation with them earlier today. John Allen's the owner. He's been here forever, and also their GM, Rusty Skinner, great guy. Wonderful conversation. They're super local. They're a family-owned dealership, not some massive auto group, and they treat their customers like family because they basically are family. They're Aggie alums. They love Aggie sports, and they've been serving the Brazos Valley with integrity, with passion, and commitment to excellence for over 50 years, which is very rare, by the way, for the independents because people trust them. And that's why they've been doing it for such a long time. Whether you're looking to buy, lease, or service your vehicle, you can count on them for transparent, no-pressure experience that puts your needs first. And I can attest to it. Had a great conversation about my own situation with them. Their knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect Honda to fit your lifestyle, from fuel-efficient sedans to versatile SUVs. Leasing options are flexible and affordable, making it easy to drive the latest models with confidence. And when it comes to service, their certified technicians only use genuine Honda parts to keep your vehicle running at its best, whether it's routine maintenance for major repairs or whatever it may be. And we know that trust isn't given, it is earned, and that's why generations of local drivers right here in the Brazos Valley and Bryan-College Station keep coming back to Allen Honda. As part of the community with Aggie spirit in their hearts, they are here to make everyone's visit wonderful. So visit their showroom or their service lane and find friendly, efficient, and memorable situations when you go to Allen Honda. Come see why so many College Station and Bryan drivers choose Allen Honda for their automotive needs, and remember, gig 'em. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. What do we have, Natalie Martin?
Yeah, so I want to talk about Jake Crane of On 3.
The Craniac.
Yes, he had some stuff to say about Marcel.
You know the bit between me and Jake Crane? Do you know there's a bit?
I don't.
Well, he doesn't know there's a bit, but there's a bit.
Oh, it's a one-sided bit?
Well, it's funny for me and Nick. We laugh. So, by the way, he's a friend of the show. He'll be on the show Friday at 9 a.m.
Great.
Okay? He, on accident, calls me David Nuno all the time. He's not the only one, but he leads the league. Nick,
Gringo. Yeah, it's just,
he's just Anglo. It's okay.
Very, super, but he's been told, right? So you guys should pay attention to this. This is funny. I love Jake, so this is not a mean thing. What do I do, Nick, when he calls me Nuno?
Whenever we hear Nuno come out, we get a Jake Cran, not a Jake Crane.
Yeah,
Jake Crane.
I call him Cran.
I go, Jake Cran on the show, like on purpose. Every time I'm a Johnny Topper.
Maybe it's just like a mutual agreement between the two
No,
of you.
he has no clue, even though we've told him. I love him. He's going to be on the show Friday because I seen that he talked about A&M. I didn't see exactly what he said, other than I saw his prediction for A&M season, and I liked it, by the way. I really enjoyed his prediction. You should go watch it on Twitter or on his show.
It was a favorable prediction, so definitely
Double
check that
digits!
out. Saying. Yeah, so he talked about Marcel, and he was asking why people aren't giving Marcel the respect he deserves. I feel like he's been taking some hits in the media recently. And something he said was, if you're Marcel and you're looking at these headlines and these Heisman predictions, it should piss you off. So I wanted to ask you, do you think that he should use it as fuel for his fire, or do you think he should just block out the noise entirely?
Depends on him. What I mean by that is, okay, I am a fake athlete, okay? For the record, super fake. What do you think would motivate me? Like, do you think that would motivate me, or would I be like, I'm just going to avoid that?
I think it's in line with your personality that you would let it motivate you.
Oh, yeah. I would print that SH stuff out and put it on the wall, and I would look at it every morning.
Right.
Absolutely. But the reason I know that doesn't work for everybody is I got 4 kids that are all athletes, that the way I motivate, the things that motivate one does not motivate all. So for some people, I think it could tear you down. Like, why do all these people say this about me? I want a quarterback or an athlete. I don't even know if I want. I am more wired to be like, oh, excuse me? You doubt me? Let me prove you wrong.
Yep.
But when you have an ego and you try to prove people wrong, sometimes you take some chances you probably should not. So controlled, on defense, we talk about controlled chaos. I want some controlled chaos, if you will, from a quarterback. Like, I'm going to prove these people wrong, but I'm going to prove people wrong without putting my team in jeopardy. You don't want to be a gunslinger, right? You don't want to be Brett Favre and just throw things. Like, I'm going to show that I can make that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in your work from January to the start of the season and what you do in between the week.
Right. And I think that knowing what we know about Marcel, he's going to be the type that wants to respond via his production. He's going to respond to the hate and maybe the disses in the media with, numbers on the field. So
I think he is not only is he a better person than me, like I don't think he gets angry like that. I think he recognizes it. He doesn't like it. He sees it, but I don't think it bothers him because they're across the street. They're so process driven. It does not matter what people think. Like, okay, you can think that, sure. We went 11-2. If we go 11-2 again, what are you going to say now? Like, are we going to continue? Like, and so it's all about, and really, as his story will attest to, like, it's what have you done for me lately? If the last play of the season was a Nate Borkature touchdown against Notre Dame, like that's the last regular season moment we look at Marcel differently, right? And when I say we, I'm talking about collective. So guess what? You got a chance to prove all the doubters wrong. I think he's going to. How that translates to wins and losses, I don't know. So it is, at this point, a harder schedule just because you are on the road 5 times. SEC 5 road games, that's tough. But I hope it motivates him, but a controlled motivation. We had a break. When we come back, somebody who just like Marcel Reed, Jason Howell, even keel. He's next on TexAgs.
As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That is at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls from Double Dave's. They've been around since 1984 here in Aggieland with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. All right, got 30 minutes of recruiting country on tap. Jason Howell joining us, brought to you by American Momentum Bank, the only privately owned bank headquartered in Bryan College Station. They're committed to helping our community prosper by offering you a wide array of personal and business banking solutions specifically designed to help build financial success with confidence and momentum on your side. With that, we go to the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Jason Howell joining us in the Metroplex, I assume. What's up, Jason?
Yes, sir. Just north of Fort Worth, almost back to the home base in Highland Village, Texas. So, but yeah, making my way around to a few football practices. Got to see Texas A&M commit Aston Lucky Whiteside this morning at Burleson Centennial, and man, he's moving around. Excited to get to work, get the real pads on, get the real action started this fall.
Jason, let's. By the way, what have you been up to? Like, I mean, I feel like you've gone to like 600 schools over the last couple of weeks.
You're generous there. I went to Waxahachie. I went to Keller Central yesterday. I went to Burleson Centennial this morning, and where did I go? Where else did I go last week? Oh, went to South Lake Carroll. And I may have another stop in me this week, still working out the details. Don't want to divulge too much until I get it all situated. But yeah, just kind of making the rounds. And then, of course, we had a big commitment to cover this weekend, and a good time.
I think we got to go to Detroit and go check out Donald Tabron Donald Tabron II. How did this come down? How did Texas A&M get such a quality quarterback from the great state of Michigan?
Well, Joey Lynch and the Midwest connection there definitely played a key role. A&M did a phenomenal job from beginning to end, establishing a connection. Tabron has been on radars for a while. He is a guy that coming up through the ranks, even through middle school and all that, like people have known about his talents, and Coach Lynch was able to get him down. Coach Wiggins was able to, they were able to tag team on that one and make some things happen, get him down early. I know he has some family connections in the state of Texas, and it worked out. They were able to get him to a game this fall. He loved the 12th man. He was able to come back a few times to campus, spent multiple days on campus this spring, and really got to know about the offense and spent some time around the quarterbacks and Marcel Reed in particular. And then, of course, this summer he lit it up at camp. And one of the best quarterback performances we've seen at summer camps. I know me and Bronny both go back, 7 years or so that we've been doing all this and going to different camps for Texas A&M, and he was phenomenal. It was one of the best we've seen. Real polished, but working with the Coach Lynch and Coach Wiggins, and one of the things he talked about was the consistency. They never wavered. He was a priority target from beginning to end for Texas A&M in that 28 class, and he felt the love from the start. So loved the culture, Texas A&M has a way of selling itself too. I mean, there's a lot to love in College Station these days.
Jason, we had Dan Wetzel from ESPN on the show on Monday, and he's from the Detroit area, and he was, I don't know if shocked that A&M was able to get Tabron, but he was like, man, that's a huge coup for Coach Elko and company, considering how coveted this guy was, how Michigan really wanted him, Ohio State wanted him, and the fact that Detroit pushes out really good NFL-style quarterbacks.
Well, I can tell you, I'm not too well versed in what Detroit specifically is doing, but we've all seen a number of quarterbacks come out of those programs, and that area produce a lot. Cass Tech is one of the perennial powers. I mean, year in, year out, they're competing for state championship, and he's been the leader of the offense the last 2 years, winning a state championship as a freshman, and took them to the state championship finals last year. He's I said it before he committed. I'll say it again. The kid's a winner. He's a leader on and off the field, and it is. I mean, it's a phenomenal coup to go in and beat some of those Midwest powers. And I mean, he had Oregon and LSU as his other two finalists, and I know Lincoln Riley and USC were also very much in the mix. I mean, you name the school, everybody was recruiting Tabron, and A&M was able to go in and kind of separate themselves. Now, we have seen some dominoes fall out there across the country. Ohio State picked up a quarterback pledge in early August, and you saw some other schools get a guy, and that was also kind of an indicator to us just kind of where Tabron's head might be, and that helped. I know Ohio State was a school that, he visited, camped at, and had some pretty close connections there. And when he's a guy that everybody would have loved to have on their team, and A&M was able to win out there. That's like I said, phenomenal effort, great job by the staff establishing that relationship, and just like I said, just keeping him priority number one.
Jason, I know you talked about how good he looked in the camps, but just talk to me about the type of quarterback Texas A&M is going to get with Donald Tabron III.
He's a incredibly polished passer. He's got a quick release. He gets the ball out and on time to his receivers. He places the ball well. He throws with touch. He throws with velocity. You watch his tape. I mean, those deep balls just right off the top. I mean, and that's something he's been doing for years. That's not something new. He's got all the tools that you want in a quarterback. Stands tall in the pocket, but yeah, just incredibly accurate. He's able to. He processes super quick and reads defenses, throws with different arm angles, and is able to adjust on the fly. But yeah, just an all around, highly polished high school quarterback is as strong as you're going to find in the country. I think I said it in in-home visit that you can make a case for him to be the top quarterback prospect in the country, and I don't think that's hyperbole right there.
Jason, I know that you mentioned in your notes to me that Cass Tech, that's a place that Texas A&M is still kind of looking at, right?
Yeah, we talked to Mylan Griggs, one of his receivers, over the weekend, and he's got another standout, guy on his offensive line, offensive tackle Antoine Wilkes, who's one of the top offensive tackles in the country. Both of those guys are highly recruited national prospects, and are both guys holding Texas A&M offers, and guys that Tabron mentioned, hey, I'm going to recruit these guys. These are guys that I'm going to start with, and we'll go from there for 28. So a couple of his teammates definitely worth putting on the radar. Griggs has a great nickname, especially for a receiver. His nickname's Go Ball. So Mylan Go Ball Griggs has had, he's played with Donald for years. I think even before Cass Tech, they kind of grew up in the area, playing with and against each other, and teamed up and have a phenomenal chemistry there. He talked about how they he can now line up and just know pre-snap, okay, this is the adjustment I'm going to need to make with my route, just based off what I'm seeing from the defense and knowing what Donald's going to want and where he tends to want to place the ball and all that kind of stuff. So they have a great chemistry. And then when you talk about Wilkes, super athletic, big offensive tackle. I think 6'6", 280 pounds right now, and he's got offers from all over the country. Both have visited A&M. I know Griggs is planning to be back. We'll see with Wilkes, but both of them have visited. A&M has been in communication with both of them throughout the recruiting process, and definitely a couple of guys to keep on the radar.
Jason, the fact that they got Tabron and there's now these possibilities of these other players, what is the likelihood because of the relationships, because these guys, and I'm not saying for sure for A&M to get everybody, but I would assume that this is a kind of a tight-knit group.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Griggs. I can't really speak to Wilkes. I haven't really spoken to him necessarily about how this impacts him, but Griggs was like, hey, man, I trust what Don does and his decision-making, and when he talks about what he sees at A&M, it definitely makes me want to keep an eye on him, you know. Of course, nothing's a slam dunk, and you know, these are both guys that are solidly on A&M's radar for their own talent. But you know, it's one of those things that definitely, if everybody's if there's interest from everybody on all sides and everything gets worked out, I could easily see you know, Griggs or Wilkes being there, and Tabron being a key factor, you know, or at least helping those efforts. You know, it's always good to have a familiar face, somebody that you know and trust, and that's going to be with you in college. And I think knowing Don and how he's viewed at Cass Tech, it's only a positive.
All right, so who's potentially next in the 2028 class, Jason?
Well, right now, I mean, I would keep an eye in-state and probably down there in the Houston area with a couple legacy guys. But you know, we'll see how it all plays out. And with especially at this time of year, as these 28s are emerging, and we're seeing new offers go out each day. I think we'll see more towards the start of the season, maybe, you know, September. But I'd keep an eye on the Houston area with Ian Thomas and Dylan Mitchell, a couple big-time explosive offensive playmakers there.
We talked to Tony Hurd Jr. just last week at Legacy. So tell us some of the talent that he's got there to his disposal this year.
Well, I'll be honest.
You don't really cover Houston, right? So
I don't, but off the top of my head, I don't think they have, like a Keyshawn Henderson or, I don't think they have a Mike Brown necessarily coming up in the 27 class or 28. But they do always have guys, and I want to say he's got a pretty nice little defensive back out there that's making some waves, and of course Tony, knowing him and his style of play and what he did as a player himself, it should come as no surprise that he's going to have a DB or two out that way. One of the things I'm looking forward to out of Legacy, they have a matchup with St. Francis, I want to say. So we'll get to see them go up against Raylan Henry and, future, Texas A&M Aggie there, 5-star cornerback out of St. Francis. We'll get to see them pair up against them, and that should be a lot of fun.
Can you give me an update on Demarion Mays, I should say?
Yeah, we caught up with one of the things I wanted to do coming off Tabron's commitment was connect with some of the big offensive playmakers, and there may not be a bigger one in the state of Texas than Demarion Mays. Of course, everybody's talked about Texas with him. He hasn't connected with Tabron yet, but I got a feeling those two are going to get to know each other, and he had some great things to say about A&M and the communication that he's had with Coach Wiggins. Coach Wiggins, of course, extended the offer to Mays whenever he was I think it was the spring of his freshman year. So A&M was in on him early with Wiggins leading that way, and now that Coach Wiggins is the offensive coordinator, it's only a plus. So he'll be back in town this fall, and he's excited to get another view of Aggieland. I know he's visited multiple times in the past, and I look for the Aggies to be a factor there throughout his commitment, and he's keeping an eye on quite a few programs. But I look for A&M to be right there in the mix, and of course, like I said, it'll be interesting to see if he's able to connect and build a bond there with Tabron.
Yeah, and any other wide receivers from that class that I should keep an eye on, Jason?
Well, Dylan Mitchell, of course, one of the more electric guys, and of course Griggs out of state. And right now that board's pretty fluid. Up in the New Jersey area, keep an eye on Mekhi Parker. He visited in the spring and had A&M high on his list following that trip. Of course, Coach Elijah Robinson doing some heavy lifting there along with the offensive staff. And there's quite a few receivers. Always pretty stacked position in state. But Demarion. You got to look at Jalen Adai and Dylan Mitchell. That'd be where I start, though.
All right, Jason, let's hit a break. When we come back, I do want to ask you about Malik Muhammad, the edge that is set up for a couple of visits here to Aggieland very soon. So we'll do that on the other side. I got some other tidbits to get into as well with Jason Howell on Recruiting Country. We'll hit a break. Right now, we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, you owe it yourself to make that drive to Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They have an outstanding selection of vehicles. You're going to love what you see. They're stocked up and ready to deal on everything on their lot. So bring what you have and let their locally Aggie-owned alumni team take care of you, right? They're going to find you the right deal and the right trade-in value. You're going to walk away very happy or drive away however you get there. And remember, when you buy a vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet, you're going to come back with that free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Stop settling for big city prices and high-pressure tactics. Go see the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryant, to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. It's still recruiting country, brought to you by American Momentum Bank. We go back to the Puppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Jason Howell still with us. All right, Jason, let's talk a little Malik Muhammad. That name is very popular in the football world. He's set up for a couple visits here to Aggieland.
Yeah, he's got a full visit slate too. One of the more coveted edge defenders out there, 6'4", 215 pounds, out of the state of Georgia. He's got a list that starts with Florida State late August, but he'll be in College Station a couple times this fall. He'll be in for the Arkansas game. He'll be in for that big Thanksgiving showdown there with the Longhorns. So he's visited before and has a great relationship with the staff. One of the twitchy guy. You watch his tape. He's a very versatile defensive guy. Lines up a linebacker, puts his hand in the dirt, lines up and down the defensive front, and he gets after it. So he can play in space, and he can get to the quarterback, and you see him covering receivers, and he does a little bit of everything. But yeah, he's got plans for A&M. I know he's also got Ole Miss, LSU. He'll actually visit LSU when A&M's in town there in Baton Rouge. So he'll get a chance to see A&M a few times this fall, and it should be it should be interesting to see how that one plays out. I know Coach Robinson's done a phenomenal job there establishing that relationship, and it'll be fun. I think both parties will be pretty familiar with each other by the time it's all said and done.
Jason, the success that Coach Elko's had at A&M, both as a coordinator and as a head coach, of getting these defensive linemen, these edge rushers to have quality seasons. Freaking Cassius Howell, I mean, what he was able to do in his short time at A&M. How much of that is a talking point when you talk to these recruits about the chances of coming to A&M?
It's huge. I mean, they see the development. I think you guys were talking about Lasaka, the other day, just about what, the development and putting guys in the NFL. These guys are all looking at it from a high school level all the way through, the upper levels of the transfer portal. So it's huge that A&M has shown, hey, we know what we're doing with these defensive linemen, and that's not just edge guys. That's up and down the defensive front. They've the Aggies under Elko have done phenomenal job producing at a high level there with a lot of the same characters. Elijah Robinson leading the efforts in a big way for most of that time as a D-line coach. So I mean, it can't be said enough. The reputation, the development, and they see the advancement that these guys make year after year. When you have a guy like Cassius who comes into your program and makes that jump from year to year, when you have a Marco Jones who comes in and Elko and company say, no, this guy is somebody we thought was the best in the country. I don't care what any recruiting service said. This is a guy we viewed way up there on our board at the highest you can put him. And you see them take those steps, and you see them make those advancements. One of the things we hear is, especially after those spring visits, I know Elko and company have been very intentional about bringing guys in the spring and getting them around the meeting room, getting them around their position group, and seeing how it's handled, and the intensity and the approach and the detail-oriented, classwork that they do. I mean, it definitely rings true, and these guys see the advancements year on year.
Talking to Jason Howell here on TexAgs Live. All right, Jason, talk about some new offers that are incoming or have happened here in the last little bit.
Yeah, they've been very active on the offensive line. We talked to Colin Burris out of Marysville, Ohio, recently. He's started to see things take a step forward, I guess, over the summer months, and A&M got involved here in the last week. He'll be, in town for A&M's matchup with Kentucky. I know he's excited to continue building that relationship. He's definitely one that we've seen. We also saw a couple young offers in the state of Texas. Oh goodness, I'm blanking. A D lineman out of the Houston area, Shadow Creek. I want to say Dylan Thomas. I may be butchering that. I may be mixing that up a little bit, but one of the top up and coming defensive linemen, big athletic kid, and he's starting to pile up the offers as well. But they've been very active all across the country. We've seen stud offensive linemen and in Illinois a lot. They've been very active in the Midwest. We've seen them down in Florida with some big Florida offers. We saw a few big receivers. 1 in 28 out of New Orleans, Archbishop Shaw, that 6'5", 200-pound receiver there. Definitely want to keep an eye on. The evaluations are starting to happen now with the new tape coming out from fall camps across the country, and these guys starting to see live game action. We saw last week in Florida, you saw preseason games start to roll out, and of course scrimmages in Georgia, and I think this week we'll see live action across several states.
All right, Jason, let's close out with your stops. Where are you going to be over the next week or so?
Well, I'm still finalizing my schedule for next weekend, but you can look for me to be at some DFW high school next week as for live game action on Friday night. And like I said, I'm waiting for everything to be processed and for all the to be given the green light 100%. But I got my eye on a game here in big private school matchup here in DFW that features several top underclassmen with All Saints and Parish Episcopal. Taps kicking off their live, their live game action a week earlier than UIL this year.
Jason, great stuff, brother. Thanks so much for your time. We'll talk to you here next week.
Yes, sir. Always appreciate you.
Thank you. Jason Howell on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Jamie Morrison in studio. Kay Nagley will join me for that. Let's talk about Paragon Financial Advisors, built in Aggie land. Some companies are proud of where they started. Paragon is proud of where they continue to call home. They are Aggie owned and operated, and they were built in Aggie land today with services with clients nationwide, personalized financial planning and investment management. While their reach has grown across the country, their values have not changed. They are all about the BCS, integrity, relationships, putting clients first. So whether you're planning retirement, helping your family build generational wealth, or preparing for your business next chapter, Paragon is committed to helping clients grow and make confident financial decisions with long-term perspective. Discover what makes Paragon different at paragon-adv.com. Paragon Financial Advisors, built in Aggie land and serving clients nationwide. Welcome to Three's Company. Jamie Morrison in the house, and Kay Nagley, our volleyball ace reporter. I'm David Dunion here on TexAgs Life. What's up, sir?
Was the ace one an actual pun, or was that no?
Oh, I didn't even think about it. Look at that.
You say that every time, and you've never noticed ace reporter?
No, just because I think you're great.
Oh, thank you.
She's pretty good.
Nice.
And I like aces. Hey, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Yeah?
Yeah, doing well. Just trying to get back into the rhythm of being in season. I flipped the page and started scouting the other day, and I'm like, oh, where do I need to go to find these things? And it's a fun phase to be in.
Well, you say flip the page. I think that's such an interesting thing for you because you're trying to look ahead with a different roster, but everybody wants to talk about the past. Yep. And you're so beyond that. Yep. Is that a challenge in the locker room, or is it just a challenge talking to fans and media?
First of all, did you guys intentionally put my seat lower than yours? Is it like a power play, or I feel like I'm like a little kid over here right now?
I'm 5'10". How tall are you, like 6'3"?
6'3". Yeah. You had to balance it out. Yeah, there's obviously, and like it's this weird balance where you need to celebrate what happened. Like it has to happen, and there's pieces of it that those athletes haven't had closure where it's the last time we were all around each other was literally that night at 1:30 in the morning, and me being like, hey, this might be the last time we're ever fully together. You never know what's going to happen. So there's a couple events that are going to be happening just to make sure that we celebrate what deserves to be celebrated. And that's a balance with, and I told the team that this is its own edition of Texas A&M volleyball. That's going to look, feel different. And we had our exhibition against Baylor, and it felt different in a joyful, fun, playful, competitive way. But really kind of getting that across to them that, hey, we're going to do it in our own way.
Sam Thornton y'all's SID had a great story for 12th Man Foundation about your journey into coaching. If you could just kind of remind the audience, because I think we look at you and you're like, won the national championship and all these things, but just kind of how you initially got into this.
Yeah, so I grew up and I was a basketball player, and I fell in love with this game by walking past the gym, and I was like, what's this strange game where the ball doesn't touch the floor? And fell in love with it, started playing on the beach, started playing a lot, and I was the guy that showed up to college and was like, can I play volleyball? I didn't know about the recruiting process and everything that went along with it, and Kenny Preston, who was there, allowed me to come try out for the team, and I think I was the last one standing. There were 5 of us that were silly enough to ask that question. I ended up getting cut. And I loved the game, so I became a practice player. Then I became a volunteer assistant. And then I always tell people, like, luck is being really skilled at something that somebody needs at the right time. And I was really good at video and statistics. And Hugh McCutcheon, who's still my mentor today, basically took a risk on a 24-year-old and brought me into the national team gym. So I think I kind of came up through that, lens of kind of moving through that over time. And then I went to the Netherlands. I was the head coach there. And I got let go. And I think it was the most pivotal moment. Like that night, literally, my wife and I were sitting down chatting till 5 o'clock after we won. And I don't think we'd do what we did without me having that moment. But I was pretty upset for about 2 weeks. I was pretty pissed off. And then I decided to sit down and learn from it. And I really penciled out, hey, why should I have not been let go? Like those were cemented in the way that I wanted to coach. And what were the reasons why I did? Like, hey, like let's really go seek through this and like what can I get better at? And I think I seeked out ways to learn and grow in those areas, and it turned me into the coach I am today. And then again, I think I said it in that article, but for me, like through all of that, like I was out of the coaching world and the business world for 3 years, which I think prepared me really, really well for where college athletics has gone. But I was in the business world for 3 years, and I felt like I had this masterpiece that was like bursting out of me that wanted to get out somewhere. And the way I word this one is I just needed the right canvas, and I really kind of wrote down the things that I needed. Like the 12th man was a piece of it. I wanted to grow the game. I wanted to build this where people really invested and interested in what we were doing. And the rest is history.
I'm going to ask you something I asked Coach Elko yesterday in a different way. I asked him, can you tell through fall camp if an offensive line is working? And I guess the same kind of question, can you tell what level of team you have this early on, or do you need to go through this non-conference and kind of go through some bumps and bruises and hopefully a lot of wins to figure that out?
You have an idea, like, but it's just interesting because I'm trying to equate this to football. I don't know if I can. You get into these matches and you're like, man, we're having a really hard time putting the ball away. And it's like, are we not great on offense, or are we really good at blocking D some days? Mm-hmm. And I think it was one of those ones where I was like, I was gotten to the Baylor match, and just you haven't seen like this iteration of it against anybody. And we got to the Baylor match, and I'm just curious, and then I got really excited to compete. But like, I think that gave me a little bit more of an idea that we can be good, and it's going to be good in some different ways. Like, we put a lot of pressure on people from the service line. That's one of the things we've been talking a lot about, of like the way that we can do it in a variety of different ways keeps people on edge and makes them really uncomfortable. So I think when you saw that, and then all of a sudden it was like, all right, our serving was causing a lot of chaos over there, and all of a sudden they were kind of in disarray, and then our offense was starting to like function and like do what it's supposed to do when we were getting these free balls back, and all of a sudden it was just constant pressure. So I think that Baylor match was a little bit more of a sign of what's to come to me than necessarily practice.
You said last week you feel like you have two of the best littles in the country. Between Addie and Gabby, just what were the qualities that you really look for in a good bro?
I think stability. I think a lot of other people look for flashiness. I really want, and this is the same with both of them, that if you watch touch after touch, it's just good. They were both at 80% good pass, which is an absurd number to come out and be in a volleyball match. So it's that consistency and that rock piece a little bit. And then can I read the game? Can I get into some good spots? And instead of making this dig look spectacular, can I just make it look easy and pop it up in the middle of the court? And then every once in a while, make the spectacular play. But I think it's that steadiness piece that's the number one thing I look for.
You had some big personalities in your past squads here at A&M. Have new personalities kind of emerged of, leadership, funny, like any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think for sure. And there's a mixture of obviously some freshmen that came in, some transfers that came in, some players having a little bit more of a voice that were here last year. And I think that, like I've always said, like teams are like, it's like a room, and if like somebody leaves, it's like gas left the room, and like it's going to fill it in some way, shape, or form. And I think that's happening right now, where people are stepping into leadership roles. I think people kind of have an understanding of like, I don't know, their job is to bring the humor sometimes. People are figuring out their space to go compete. And one of the things we've been talking about this last week is how we want to show up as competitors, both individually and as a team. So I think all of that stuff is starting to come to fruition.
In these exhibitions and the scrimmage, you get the opportunity to play a lot of depth. Have you been happy with what you've seen?
Yeah, so I think like, and I said it last year where you saw, I don't know, you didn't get to see people that were on the floor. I think depth is one of the things, and I've talked to our team, like as this program gets better, like the margins between starting and not starting are thinner and thinner and thinner. And I think I trust a lot of people to step out in the volleyball court and have, I don't know, a significant impact on what's going on, regardless of who we're playing.
This wouldn't be a Jamie Nuno conversation without me taking a detour real quick.
Oh, that's it. That's detour. Left or right? Where are we going?
Well, what books have you read this summer? Because I know you're always doing something to self-help, evaluate.
I asked around about just, I don't know, following up a championship and that next level for a program. And one of them I read by myself. I can't remember the exact title, but it was Simon Sinek's, one of his new books. It was about, it's not eternal corporations, but it was something along those lines of like, how do you create a corporation that's going to last, adapt, like that has bigger, I don't know, ideals. And like one of the things they talked about was just the Microsoft Apple rivalry back in the day. And Microsoft was obsessed with being better than Apple, and Apple was obsessed with innovating. And that was the reason why like this kept doing this and this kept trying to catch up, and it wasn't necessarily what they were about. So that was one of them. And then somebody recommended Pat Riley's book.
Oh yeah.
Just talked about taking, I don't know, a program that hadn't necessarily won championships into that and then repeating that process. So those were probably the two that I read a little bit more of over the summer.
I'm in the middle of Sahil Bloom's The Five Wealths. I don't know if you've read that one, but it's pretty good. It's up your alley.
Yeah, cool.
It's not about money. It's about things that are important to life.
I'll check it out.
Okay.
The bromance is alive and well. ABCA First Serve this weekend. You take on two very, very challenging, good teams. Just overall, or obviously you saw Louisville and Dan Meskey's squad in that championship run. They return a lot of pieces. Just what are you looking forward to most about just getting back out on the floor?
Like competing, number one. Dan and I were talking about having like a punting contest over here for
yeah,
First
I think
Serve.
y'all should do
sending that as far as possible, but I don't think that one's going to happen. But I think competing, I think is the number one thing that I'm looking forward to the most. I think seeing what we look like against two really good volleyball teams, seeing the way that we respond out in that setting. Like again, the Baylor match, I was really, really happy with the way that we competed. I think those are probably the two most important things. So,
yeah.
Beyond competing, what do you need to see? Is there something internally that you're tracking that you need to see?
I think the number one thing, and I just talked to our team about this last night, is continue to improve. And the interesting thing is we played Baylor in the spring, and we played them like for our exhibition, and we lost 3-0 earlier in the spring. Won 3-0 and then played a fourth in this. And just the number one comment that I got from people was the amount of improvement that happened from here to here. And for me, the biggest thing that I've talked to our team about is like, we're young, we're going to learn, but if we can learn that quickly across the year, like what we are at the end of the year is the most important thing.
Let me follow that up, because there's not that much time together, even though it's a long time, right? So how do you improve in that time?
Yeah, like bit by bit, little piece by little piece. And and like you have to balance this, like preparing for this opponent, the scouting that goes into that with we're going to improve ourselves across the course of the year. So it's a little bit of that. Just we're going out playing Louisville. It's like, hey, here's some things they're there to do, but here's ways that we can get better within it also. So that's what we'll be working on the next few days of practice before we play.
How cool is it to play the last point of 2025 and the first point?
Something came out on that, and I was like, I didn't even think about it until like that. It's just like a continuation. And it feels like it went by like that, like for all of us. I feel like we're still playing a continuation of last season. But that's an awesome thing. And I said it last year, like we were ranked number 9, and I think it's just a testament to how far the program's come. And I always talk like rankings for me. The first one is I don't know, level of respect for your program, and the last one is how good you actually are. But I think just the fact that, I don't know, we're ranked where we are, the fact that we're invited to that event to go play in it again and kick things off for the year, it's a huge testament to how far Texas A&M volleyball's come.
We had the pleasure of working with Kendall this summer. She was fantastic. Just
impressed.
From your perspective, how has she grown from last season to this season?
Yeah, you talked a little bit about filling space and leadership. I think that's the one of kind of stepping into that role. And the thing I talked to her a little bit about is just like, she is a sponge for information. So a lot of what we taught in the first year that she was here, she soaked up. We don't have to hit again. So it's a little bit more of finding this little piece that we can improve a little bit, and this little piece, and kind of being dialed in on those as we go. So that's probably the two biggest things is, hey, where are these small bits that we can kind of improve? And then the leadership piece of how does my voice show up on the floor?
You spoke to SEC Network, and you're just talking about how you're a really competitive person and how you're falling in love with the grind and falling in love with just like how to win. Have you seen markers like those kinds of things from your team in regards of like you see them falling in love with the process?
Yeah. And again, like you have people that come to this program, and the majority of them that come, I think I said it's on that interview, has been for development, or maybe this was ESPN, like they're looking for a place to go develop. And I think we have a lot of those people around our program right now where they're willing to pour in and invest the time in developing themselves across the pillars that we have in our program. And I think that's the biggest thing that I see. And you're seeing this growth happen exponentially. And again, all of this for me, whenever you're dealing with sports, everyone's going to get better. Like it's just the way that it goes about. Everyone's going to get better throughout a year. It's just a race of who can do it the fastest and who can do it the most efficiently and who has the players that are most hungry to learn. And all of a sudden that is, again, like what happens at the end of the season. And for us, like the whole 5th year thing, like it kicked in, and like people are going to have another year on top of this now and be more experienced, which means it's even more important that we hit the afterburners and continue to learn as time goes on.
Jamie, I know you got media coming up. Thanks for coming by, man.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
We'll see you soon.
See you.
Jamie,
welcome to the team.
Thanks.
Let's go.
Appreciate it.
Jamie Morrison here on TexAgs Live. We'll hit a break in case you missed it. Coming up next on TexAgs.
In case you missed it, back here on TexAgs Live, let's see how I look like a fool on this episode. Kaylee Dreyer and Sydney Clevenger in the hizzy.
Hello. We don't make you look like a fool.
Sometimes you do. Hey, did you see this? Everybody in the world saw it on social media. No, didn't see it.
Well, that's why we're here, to bring you stuff you didn't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Me and all the olds.
Well, in this case, I know you've seen this, but just in case some of you guys have not seen this, TexAgs put out a tweet of Anto Saka speaking at a press conference, and here's that clip. Oh, it's not. Okay. So this went mega viral, over 10 million views, about 3,000 likes, 500 retweets, reposted by major media outlets. It went so viral, all because nobody believes he is 22 years old. Yeah. Everyone's saying he looks way older than him.
Okay. Lowest hanging fruit is, I think, what happened. People are like, oh, I'm going to say something funny about this, too. And I'm going to say something. He doesn't look like he's 18. He doesn't look like he's 40, like people said.
This is my favorite meme that came out of this from the Benchwarmers.
I am 12. That's good.
I was dying at all these comments. Here's some more. Someone said, I used to work with him on a loading dock in 95. Great dude.
He wasn't even born in 95.
Dying. Some people think he looks like he was. Another person said, NFL scouts aren't asking for his 40 time. They're asking when his last colonoscopy was.
Oh
Forget NIL. That man bought the sports car because the kids moved out and he needed to feel alive again. These were taking me out. One more. I hope his grandkids can get tickets so they can see him play.
Oh, my goodness. I think he looks like 24. Maybe because I'm 100.
Maybe a little older.
Yeah. You think he looks older?
I'm 21. Do you think he looks 1 year older than me?
24 and 21?
No, like he is 21.
Oh, he is 21.
22.
Okay. I don't know. He's a football player. He's big, strong, mustache.
I mean, a lot
veins.
of them are.
Yeah.
I feel like his features, I don't know, he just looks older.
Okay.
He does.
So I have another thing that you probably have seen. I'm sure everyone has, but more for the comments that are hilarious. Jaden Daniels' number drama.
Yeah, that whole thing.
So this is the official ESPN note about it, but what I really wanted to get into is the comments that major outlets are saying. StubHub tweeted, effective immediately, we will no longer be selling tickets in groups of 5, only 4 and 6 plus.
I like that.
The Mets posted their final score graphic against the Nationals where they won 4-1, and they said stopped at 4 out of respect for Jaden Daniels.
Oh, wow. That's real?
Yes,
Oh.
it's on Twitter. And then a few more. Is Jaden Daniels the reason why we don't have $5 foot-long special at Subway anymore? And then last one that I thought was funny, went to give my kid a high five today, but left him hanging. Didn't want Jaden Daniels to come after.
Oh, that was good. That's good. That whole situation is so stupid.
I think it's just laughable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying all the comments that are coming out of it. It's so funny to me.
It's weird to side with LSU
Right.
on
Mhm.
anything, right? But sorry, Daniels, you're wrong.
So one more thing I wanted to get into.
Okay.
Casey, have you seen that video of him after his first preseason game? He talked to the media.
No, I haven't seen it.
And he said, I take pride in never being tackled by a cornerback. This was after he scored his touchdown run and he broke a tackle from
Oh, great. I love that. He's going to be such a star.
There's so many people quoting it, saying that he's a dog for that, and he's definitely becoming a fan favorite.
Oh, he's going to be great. It's weird because I don't want to like them, but I like him, so I'm going to have to
I
like him.
can't wait to watch him on Sundays. I'm not a Browns fan, but I'm a KC fan. Last thing I have, so Texas football posted a video of Arch at fall camp. After he threw a pass, he goes, smooth like butter, baby.
He says it?
Yes.
Okay.
And now that's become a thing. Everyone's going to start saying butter, apparently, when he has a smooth pass.
Okay.
HEB actually responded to that video with a photo of their butter tortillas saying, we got you at Arch Manning. And then that opened a whole new argument in their comments because tortillas are a Texas Tech thing, and people were arguing over that.
Because people like
Everyone
to argue.
just likes to argue.
Yeah.
I think that was a case of little brother syndrome, in my opinion.
Those tortillas are pretty darn good, though.
They're so good.
They're so good,
So
yeah.
getting the samples from HEB.
Oh, no, I don't do the samples of tortillas because, like, I don't know who's touched those. Like, somebody had to put their hands on it and cut it. I don't want people's hands on my tortillas.
People have to touch food to make your food.
Yeah, but they use a little tongs. I don't think they're doing tongs when they're at the store and they're cutting it in front of people and people just breathing all over those tortillas.
Oh.
You thought about that? Like, Helen and her 5 kids come breathing all over, snotty nose. Like, nobody wants that.
Of course you thought of that.
All right, is that it, ladies?
Yeah, that's
Thank
all
you.
we have.
Very good job. You got a comment or anything to close out the show? We've got about 40 seconds.
TexAgs today, we've got the 25 and 25 story on Des Ricks, sponsored by Paragon Financial. We'll have a women's soccer recap and quick kicks from their game tonight at Texas State. We'll have a volleyball press conference with transfers Natalie Ring and Eliza Sharp, along with returning setter Kira Musgrove and head coach Jamie Morrison, along with a Reed report and a Texas Aggie United interview with Angela McCullum.
Good stuff there. Thank you very much. And my apologies to Helen and her 5 kids. I'm sure they're great. They're quality.
No, it can't be 5. It has to be 5.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah. Shout out to Jaden Daniels, or not. Anyway, that's going to do it for TexAgs Live. We'll see you guys mañana.